Picture this. It's 11:34 p.m. Inside the sleek glass and steel room, the air smells of expensive whiskey, leather, and power. Lee Dong-hyun, now 22 years old with his father's sharp features and his own cold calculations, sits behind a mahogany desk reviewing reports of betrayal. He's no longer the little boy who asked a stranger to walk him home. Tailored Tom Ford suit. Slick back black hair. Eyes that have watched men beg and die. His father's empire is now his, built on blood, maintained through fear, expanded through ruthless brilliance. He learned young, trust no one, show no weakness, and always control the board. His phone buzzes. A message from an unknown number. They're coming for her. Dong-hyun's hand freezes. There's only one her in his world that makes his blood run cold. Yvette Anderson. His Noona. The woman who saved him in the rain 16 years ago. The godmother who tried to teach him kindness in a world built on violence. The only person alive he would burn the entire city down to protect. He stands, straightening his cuffs with the precision his father taught him. Outside, lightning splits the sky. His second-in-command appears at the door, silent, waiting. Find her, Dong-hyun says, voice like ice over steel. Bring her here. No. I don't care what she's doing or what she says. The Volkov Bratva just declared war, and they've put a price on her head. Because 5 years ago, Yvette Anderson walked away from this life. Sold her stake in the family business. Moved to Portland. Started over. She told him, Minnie, I love you. But I can't watch you become what this world demands. I can't be part of it anymore. He'd let her go. The only mercy he'd ever shown anyone. But mercy he's learned is weakness. And weakness gets the people you love killed. Now someone has weaponized his one vulnerability. His one remaining piece of humanity. The woman who once held his hand in a storm and promised to keep him safe. Time to remind the world why you don't touch what belongs to Lee Dong-hyun. This is the story of a godmother who tried to escape, a mafia king who became the monster she feared, and the bloody war that forces them back together. One last time. Stick around because what happens next will leave you breathless. Drop your city or country in the comments. And tell me honestly, if you walked away from someone you raised to protect them from darkness, would you go back if they needed you? Let me know below. Let me take you to Portland, Oregon. November 2031. A world away from the neon-lit chaos of Flushing, Queens, where this story began. Yvette Anderson is 41 years old now. And if you looked at her life from the outside, you'd think she'd finally made it. She owns a bookstore cafe in Portland's Pearl District. A beautiful space with floor-to-ceiling windows, exposed brick walls, mismatched vintage furniture, and shelves packed with classics and contemporary fiction. The kind of place where poets do readings on Thursday nights and the espresso is strong enough to wake the dead. She'd named it, The Turning Page. A fresh start. A new chapter. Every morning she opens at 7. Makes herself a pour-over coffee, Ethiopian blend, single origin, the good stuff. Unlocks the door. Flips the sign to open. Watches the regulars filter in. There's Margaret, the retired teacher who only reads mysteries. Kevin, the grad student who camps out for hours with his laptop and buys one scone to justify the Wi-Fi. Jasmine and her book club who meet every Wednesday to discuss books they only half read. Normal people. Normal lives. Normal problems like whether the new fiction releases will sell and if the heating system will make it through another winter. This is what Yvette wanted. What she'd run 3,000 miles to find. 5 years of peace. 5 years of pretending the first 41 years of her life, especially the middle 16, never happened. She'd built this new existence carefully. Brick by brick. Lie by lie. She told people she'd worked in consulting in New York. Made good money. Invested wisely. Retired early to pursue her passion. It was close enough to the truth that she could say it without flinching. She lived in a small craftsman house in the Hawthorne district. 2 bedrooms, a garden she actually tended, a front porch where she drank wine and read on summer evenings. Her neighbors were a lesbian couple who taught at Portland State and a young family with twin toddlers who were loud but sweet. She volunteered at a youth literacy center twice a week. Taught kids from rough neighborhoods, kids who reminded her of herself, how to love reading, how to see possibility in pages. Balancing the scales. That's what her therapist called it. Dr. Sarah Chin. 40-something. Kind eyes. A practice specializing in trauma and PTSD. Yvette saw her every Tuesday at 4 p.m. She'd never told Dr. Chin the whole truth. Couldn't. But she'd told enough. About violence witnessed. Moral compromises made. The weight of protecting someone who became a monster. You carry a lot of guilt, Yvette, Dr. Chin had said just last week. Guilt over things that weren't your responsibility. Weren't they? Yvette had asked. If you raise someone, aren't you responsible for who they become? You were his godmother, not his mother. And even mothers can't control who their children become. Especially when those children are born into systems designed to destroy innocence. Yvette had nodded. Wanted to believe it. Couldn't quite manage. Because she'd seen it happen. Watched 7-year-old Minnie, sweet, scared, brilliant Minnie, transform year by year into something harder. Colder. More like his father. She tried. God, she tried. Teaching him compassion. Taking him to museums, parks, normal places. Showing him there was a world beyond violence and power. But by the time he was 14, she'd see him give orders and men would scramble to obey. By 16 he was attending executions. By 17 he'd ordered his first kill. That's when she knew she'd lost. The breaking point came on his 17th birthday. A lavish party at the Westchester estate. Hundreds of guests. Yvette had given him a first edition Steinbeck, East of Eden, about brothers and choices and the possibility of redemption. Later that night she'd overheard him on the phone. Cold. Emotionless. I don't care about his family. He stole from us. Make an example. Public. She'd confronted him after. Minnie, that man has children. Don't call me that anymore, he'd said. Voice flat. Eyes dead. I'm not a child. And actions have consequences. He knew the rules. You sound exactly like your father. Good. That's what I'm supposed to sound like. She'd looked at this teenager, tall now, nearly a man, wearing his father's face and mannerisms like a second skin, and realized the truth. She hadn't saved him. She'd just delayed the inevitable. 2 months later she'd told Kong-min she was done. Sold her stake in the family business for enough money to disappear. Moved across the country. Cut ties. Kong-min had understood. You did more than anyone. Gave him something I never could. But you're right, this life destroys everyone it touches. Even those trying to do good. Minnie, no, Dong-hyun, he'd insisted, had been harder to leave. You're abandoning me, he'd said. 17 years old and trying not to cry. Everyone abandons me. I'm not abandoning you. I'm releasing you. You don't need me anymore, Minnie. You've become exactly what your father wanted. What if I don't want to be that? What if I need you to remind me I'm more? Then you'll have to figure that out yourself. I can't do it for you anymore. It's breaking me. She'd hugged him one last time. This boy she'd loved like a son. This future king of an empire built on blood. Then she'd gotten on a plane and hadn't looked back. For 5 years. They'd texted on birthdays. Brief. Impersonal. Happy birthday, Noona. Happy birthday, Minnie. Stay safe. That was it. That was all she could handle. She built a new life. Found peace. Even found love. Marcus Chin, no relation to her therapist, funny coincidence, was an architect. 43. Chinese American. Divorced, no kids, kind in a way that felt foreign after years in Dong-hyun's world. He designed sustainable buildings. Talked about green spaces and community impact. Believed in making the world better through thoughtful design. They'd met at a gallery opening. Bonded over a shared love of coffee and old movies. Dated for a year before he proposed. The ring sat on her finger now, simple platinum band with a small diamond. They were planning a spring wedding. Small ceremony. Her mother flying in from Florida. His family from Seattle. Maybe 50 people total. Normal. Safe. Everything she'd dreamed of during those long nights in New York when she'd watched Minnie become someone she didn't recognize. This morning, November 15, 2031, a Tuesday, started like any other. Yvette opened the shop. Made her coffee. Served the regulars. Restocked the fiction section. Ordered more holiday inventory. People bought books as gifts in December. Around 11 a.m. Margaret stopped her. Honey, there's a man at the poetry section who's been staring at you for 20 minutes. Should I call someone? Yvette looked up. The man was Korean. Mid-30s. Expensive charcoal suit that screamed money. He wasn't browsing. He was waiting. Her blood went cold. She knew that look. That posture. The way he stood like violence was always an option but currently unnecessary. He was one of them. She walked over slowly. Heart hammering. Can I help you find something? Miss Anderson. His English was perfect. My name is Christopher Yoon. I work for Mr. Lee. He asked me to deliver this. He held out a phone. He'd like to speak with you. I don't have anything to say to him. Please, Miss Anderson. It's urgent. Every instinct screamed at her to refuse. To call the cops. To run. But she'd learned long ago, When Dong-hyun wanted something, refusal only delayed the inevitable. She took the phone, walked to the back office, closed the door, put the phone to her ear. Noona. One word. His voice deeper now, a man's voice, but still him. Still carrying that particular weight that said he was about to ask her to do something she didn't want to do. Don't call me that, she said. We're not family anymore. We'll always be family. Blood or not. What do you want, Dong-hyun? Silence. Then, the Volkov Bratva has put a $3 million contract on your life. It went active 6 hours ago. You have maybe 12 hours before every assassin on the East Coast knows your location. I need you to come home. The world tilted. What? Portland isn't safe anymore. They've already sent advanced scouts. My people intercepted too, but there will be more. You need to come to New York. No. Let me protect you. Why the hell would the Russian mob want me dead? I've been gone for 5 years. Because they know you're the only person I care about. Hurting you hurts me. And they want me vulnerable. Then don't be vulnerable. I'm not your problem anymore. Yvette. The sound of her actual name in his mouth stopped her cold. He never used it. Always Noona. Always the familial term. Please. I'm asking. Don't make me beg. I have a life here. A fiancé. A business. I'm not running back to your world because some Russian gangsters are making threats. They're not making threats. They've already tried twice. The barista who started working at your shop last week? Bratva plant. We removed her this morning. The car that's been parked across from your house for 3 days? Surveillance team. We're handling it. But I can't protect you from 3,000 miles away. Not against this. Her legs felt weak. She sat down hard in her desk chair. You've been watching me. I've always been watching you. Did you think I'd just let you disappear into the wind unprotected? I didn't want your protection. That's why I left. And I respected that. I stayed away. I gave you space. But this is different. This is your life, Noona. Please, come home. New York isn't my home. Then come for a visit. 2 weeks. Let me resolve this. Then you can go back to Portland and your normal life and I'll never bother you again. You promise? Have I ever lied to you? She wanted to say yes. Wanted to believe he was manipulating her. But the truth was harder. He hadn't. In 16 years, Dong-hyun had never lied to her. Omitted maybe. Maneuvered. But never outright lied. I need to think about it. You have 2 hours. Book the 3 p.m. flight to JFK. First class. I've already purchased the ticket under your name. Christopher will drive you to the airport. Or don't get on the plane. Take your chances. But know this. If you die because you were too stubborn to accept my help, I will burn Portland to the ground, finding everyone responsible. And that blood will be on both our hands. The line went dead. Yvette sat there, phone in her shaking hand, staring at the wall of her office where she'd hung photos. Her and Marcus at the coast. Her mother's birthday last year. The grand opening of the turning page. 5 years of peace. 5 years of normal. Ending because a little boy had once asked her to walk him home. She stepped out of the office. Christopher Yoon was still there, patient, holding a leather portfolio. Mr. Lee anticipated you might want evidence, he said, offering the folder. Inside were photos. Surveillance stills. The barista, young woman, early 20s, tattoo of a Russian Orthodox cross on her wrist. The car outside her house. 2 men inside, one holding what looked like a telephoto lens. Documents. Intercepts. Bank transfers. All real. All terrifying. The 3 p.m. flight leaves in 3 hours, Christopher said quietly. I can have you packed and at the airport in 90 minutes. Or I can leave and you can take your chances. Mr. Lee left the choice to you. Yvette looked around her bookstore. Her dream made real. Her escape made solid. Looked at the customers browsing peacefully, unaware that death had been circling their favorite cafe for days. Thought about Marcus, probably at his office right now designing buildings, planning their future. Thought about Minnie, Dong-hyun, sitting in some Manhattan tower, moving pieces on a board she'd once been part of. I need to make some calls, she said. She called Marcus first. Baby, I have to go to New York. Family emergency. What happened? Is your mom okay? Patricia was fine. Living in a retirement community in Tampa. Yvette sent her money every month. Clean money from the bookstore, not blood money from the old days. She's fine. It's complicated. Old friend needs help. I'll be gone maybe 2 weeks. 2 weeks? Vet, we have the cake tasting on Saturday. And the venue needs final numbers by. I know. I'm sorry. I'll make it up. I promise. Silence on the line. Then, this isn't like you. What's really going on? I can't explain right now. But I need you to trust me. Please. Another pause. Okay. Be safe. Call me when you land. I will. I love you. Love you too. The lie tasted like ash in her mouth. She called her assistant manager, a grad student named Riley who basically ran the place anyway. Hey, I have to go out of town for a couple weeks. Can you handle things? Sure, boss. Everything okay? Yeah. Just family stuff. She packed mechanically. Christopher drove her home, waited in the living room while she threw clothes into a suitcase. 2 weeks' worth. Professional clothes, casual clothes, toiletries. She looked at the engagement ring on her finger. Thought about taking it off. Left it on. In the car to the airport, she stared out the window at Portland sliding past. The bridges. The food carts. The quirky murals. The city she'd chosen specifically because it was as far from New York's chaos as she could get while still being on the same coast. Miss Anderson, Christopher said as they pulled up to departures. For what it's worth, Mr. Lee really did try to handle this without involving you. He spent the last week trying to negotiate with the Bratva. They refused. This was his last option. Negotiating isn't really his strong suit anymore, is it? Christopher's expression flickered. He's very good at what he does. But he's also young. Still learning. He could use guidance. I'm not his guidance anymore. I retired from that job. Respectfully, ma'am, I don't think he got the memo. The flight was 5 hours. Yvette sat in first class, sipping wine she couldn't taste, staring at clouds. She'd promised herself she'd never go back. Had spent 5 years building walls between herself and that life. 5 years convincing herself she'd done all she could. But here she was, 35,000 feet in the air, flying toward the one person she'd failed to save. The one person who'd apparently never stopped needing saving. Her phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. Thank you for coming. I'll keep you safe. I promise. She stared at that single-letter signature. Not Dong-hyun. Not even Minnie. Just M. Like they had their own language. Their own shorthand. Forged across 16 years of impossible choices. She typed back, 2 weeks. Then I'm gone. For real this time. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Understood. But they both knew it was a lie. Because the moment she'd answered that phone call, the moment she'd agreed to get on this plane, she'd already lost. You can't save someone halfway. You can't love someone conditionally. You can't walk a little boy home in the rain and then pretend you're not responsible for the man he becomes. Yvette Anderson had learned that lesson 16 years ago. She just spent 5 years trying to forget it. The plane began its descent into JFK. The New York skyline appeared through the clouds, 1,000 lights in the darkness, a city that never slept, a kingdom of glass and steel and blood. She was coming home. God help them both. The moment Yvette stepped off the plane at JFK, she knew she'd made a mistake. Not because of danger. Not because of fear. But because of the feeling that washed over her the second she breathed New York air again. Relief. Like some part of her had been holding its breath for 5 years and could finally exhale. She hated that feeling. Hated what it meant. Christopher was waiting at baggage claim. So were 2 other men, guards, obviously earpieces and tailored suits barely concealing shoulder holsters. Miss Anderson. Christopher took her suitcase. The car's waiting. I can take a cab to a hotel? Mr. Lee insists you stay at the penthouse. Safest location. Full security. I'm not staying with him. The penthouse has multiple floors. Private guest suites. You won't even see him unless you want to. She wanted to argue. But she was tired. And scared. And if she was honest, curious, what had become of the boy she'd left behind? The car was a black Mercedes S-Class. Bulletproof windows. Because of course. They drove through Queens, past Flushing where this all started. Yvette stared out the window at familiar streets. The Golden Dragon was still there, she noticed. Still open. Still glowing with those same neon signs. A lifetime ago she'd worked there. Served Calbee to drunk customers. Counted tips and crumpled singles. Dreamed of something better. Funny how better turned out. They crossed into Manhattan. Headed downtown to Tribeca. The neighborhood where old industrial buildings had been converted into multi-million-dollar lofts and tech companies paid obscene rent for authentic spaces. The car pulled up to a sleek glass tower. 30 stories. Modern architecture. A doorman in a crisp uniform who nodded at Christopher like he'd been expecting them. Private elevator. Required a key card to access. They rode up in silence, Yvette, Christopher, and 1 guard. Floor 28. The doors opened directly into a penthouse. And Jesus Christ, it was stunning. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Manhattan skyline. Minimalist furniture. All clean lines and expensive fabrics. Art on the walls that probably cost more than her bookstore's annual revenue. Kitchen with top-of-the-line appliances. Everything white, black, chrome glass. Cold. Beautiful. Impersonal. Exactly like the man who lived here. Mr. Lee is in his office, Christopher said. Would you like to freshen up first, or? Let's get this over with. Christopher led her down a hallway. Knocked on a door. Opened it. The office was all windows and dark wood. A massive desk. Bookshelves lining one wall, and Yvette noticed with a pang that many of the titles were books she'd given Minnie over the years. First edition Steinbeck. Hemingway. Morrison. Baldwin. He'd kept them. And behind the desk, standing as she entered, was Lee Dong-hyun. 22 years old. 6'1". The baby fat of adolescence completely gone, replaced by sharp cheekbones and a jawline that could cut glass. His black hair was styled back, not a strand out of place. He wore a charcoal suit, Tom Ford, definitely Tom Ford, with a crisp white shirt, no tie. His father's Rolex on his wrist. But it was his eyes that stopped her. Still dark. Still intense. But harder now. Colder. Like he'd learned to turn off whatever warmth used to live there. He looked like Kongmin. Almost exactly. The same commanding presence. The same dangerous stillness. Her little boy was gone. In his place stood a man she barely recognized. Noona. He bowed slightly, formal, respectful. Thank you for coming. Don't call me that, she said automatically. We had a deal. 2 weeks. Then I'm gone. Of course. He gestured to a chair across from his desk. Please. Sit. Would you like tea? Something stronger? Water's fine. He poured from a crystal carafe. Handed her the glass. Their fingers didn't touch. The silence stretched. Awkward. Painful. 16 years of history sitting between them like a wall. Yvette broke first. You've gotten taller. You've gotten older. She almost smiled. Is that your version of a compliment? It's an observation. You look good. Healthy. Portland agrees with you. It did. Until Russian mobsters decided to target me. Dong-hyun sat down behind his desk. Folded his hands. I apologize for that. It wasn't supposed to touch you. You were supposed to be free. Then why am I here? He pulled out a tablet. Slid it across the desk. This went live 18 hours ago. Yvette looked at the screen. It was a dark web posting. Her photo, recent, taken outside her bookstore. Her name. Her address. Her routine. And a price, $3 million. Jesus Christ. 17 confirmed contractors have accepted the job, Dong-hyun said, voice clinical. My people have intercepted 4 so far. But more are coming. Portland's not equipped to handle this level of threat. Why me? I've been gone for 5 years. I'm nobody. You're not nobody. You're my godmother. The woman who raised me. The only person whose opinion I value. That makes you leverage. Leverage for what? He leaned back. The Volkov Bratva has been expanding aggressively into our territories. New York, New Jersey, parts of Pennsylvania. We've been managing it, negotiating, making concessions where necessary. But 6 months ago they started pushing harder. Testing boundaries. Disrespecting agreements. So push back. I did. Diplomatically. Through intermediaries. Offering compromises. They interpreted it as weakness. So now what? Now they've decided the best way to control me is to threaten you. Force me to either sacrifice you, proving I'm ruthless enough to work with, or protect you and look weak. Either way they win. Yvette set down the tablet. You could have just increased security in Portland. Sent more guards. You didn't have to drag me across the country. If I protect you remotely, I look sentimental. Weak. But if I bring you here into my home, surround you with my power, that's different. That's showing strength. Declaring that what's mine is protected. Absolutely. I'm not yours, Minnie. His jaw tightened at the name. Don't call me that. And yes, you are. You always have been. You just didn't want to admit it. I left. You ran. There's a difference. He stood, walked to the windows. His back to her. You couldn't handle what I became. So you abandoned me. Again. Again? I never. Everyone abandons me, Noona. My mother. My father died when I was 19. It's what people do. They promise to stay and then they leave. He turned back. The mask slipped just slightly. Hurt underneath. I let you go because I loved you. Because you asked. But don't pretend it didn't destroy me. Yvette felt tears burning. You were 17. You ordered a man killed because he stole from you. I listened to you give that order like you were discussing the weather. You weren't a child anymore. You were becoming your father. And I couldn't watch it. You mean you couldn't watch your failure? The words hit like a slap. What? You tried to save me. Teach me compassion. Keep me innocent. And you failed. I became exactly what I was always going to become. And you couldn't live with that failure, so you ran. That's not, she stopped. Because maybe it was true. Maybe part of why she'd left was guilt. The knowledge that 16 years of trying hadn't been enough. I don't blame you, Dong-hyun said quietly. This life destroys everyone. You were smart to get out. But you need to understand something. I am what I am. I run an empire built on violence. I make decisions that would horrify you. I have blood on my hands that will never wash off. But I'm also still the boy who trusted you enough to ask you to walk him home. And that boy, that part of me still needs you. Still trusts you. Still loves you. Minnie? Dong-hyun. My name is Dong-hyun. Minnie was a child's name. I'm not a child. She looked at this man, this stranger wearing a familiar face, and felt her heart break all over again. Okay, Dong-hyun. What exactly do you want from me? 2 weeks. Stay here. Let me protect you while I resolve the Volkov situation. Help me negotiate a solution that doesn't require mass bloodshed. You're good at that, seeing angles I miss. Finding peaceful options. And then? Then you go back to Portland. Marry your architect. Run your bookstore. Live your life. I'll make sure you're protected from a distance. And we can go back to birthday texts and pretending we're not important to each other. Is that what you want? No. I want you to stay. Permanently. Be part of my life like you used to be. But I know you won't. So I'll take 2 weeks. The honesty was devastating. Before Yvette could respond, there was a knock. Mrs. Choi entered, older now, 65 at least, but still sharp-eyed and impeccable in a gray suit. Apologies for interrupting. Miss Anderson, I've prepared your suite. And Dong-hyun, the Volkov meeting is in 2 hours. You should prepare. What meeting? Yvette asked. Dong-hyun and Mrs. Choi exchanged a look. I've arranged a preliminary discussion with Alexei Volkov and his daughter Katrina. Neutral ground. To see if we can de-escalate before this becomes a war. You want me there? No. Too dangerous. But you want my help negotiating? After I assess their position, yes. Yvette stood. I'm coming. Absolutely not. You said you needed me. That I see angles you miss. So let me see them. Or I'm on the next flight back to Portland. Dong-hyun stared at her. The old battle of wills. The same dynamic from when he was 7 and she was trying to make him eat vegetables. Finally he nodded. Fine. But you stay silent unless I ask for input. And if anything goes wrong, you follow Christopher out immediately. Agreed. Agreed. Mrs. Choi looked between them. I'll have appropriate attire sent to Miss Anderson's suite. Business formal. 20 minutes later, Yvette stood in her guest suite, which was bigger than her house in Portland, staring at the dress Mrs. Choi had provided. Elegant black sheath. Understated but expensive. Designer, obviously. She showered. Changed. Looked at herself in the mirror. 41 years old. Still fit, still strong but tired around the eyes. Lines that hadn't been there 5 years ago. Gray hair she'd stopped coloring. She looked like what she was, a woman who'd survived too much. The meeting was at a restaurant in Koreatown. Private room. Heavy security both sides. Yvette sat next to Dong-hyun at the table. Mrs. Choi on his other side. Across from them, Alexei Volkov and his daughter Katrina. Alexei was 52. Gray hair. Cold blue eyes. Expensive suit. The classic Russian mobster aesthetic, brutal but sophisticated. Katrina was 28. Stunning in a dangerous way. Dark hair pulled back severely. Designer everything. Harvard MBA pin on her lapel because of course. She looked at Yvette with undisguised curiosity. So, Alexei said in accented English, this is the famous godmother. The black woman who walks with Korean kings. I'm nobody, Yvette said. Just a friend of the family. A friend worth $3 million. Katrina's smile was sharp. That's quite a friendship. Dong-hyun's voice cut like ice. The price on her head is an insult. And it will be withdrawn. Today. Or what? Alexei leaned back. You'll go to war over a woman who isn't even blood? This is why you're weakly. Sentiment. Protecting what's mine isn't sentiment. It's principle. And principles are what separate us from animals. Katrina laughed. Philosophy from a crime boss. How refreshing. The meeting devolved from there. Posturing. Threats. Territorial disputes. Yvette watched Dong-hyun negotiate. He was good, she had to admit. Controlled. Strategic. But rigid. Unwilling to show flexibility. Finally she spoke up. May I say something? Dong-hyun glanced at her. Nodded. Mr. Volkov, Ms. Volkov, you're testing Dong-hyun. Seeing if he's weak like you suspect. But you're using the wrong test. Targeting me doesn't prove he's sentimental. It proves he's loyal. And loyalty is valuable in this business. Someone who's loyal to his people will be loyal to his agreements. That's not weakness. That's reliability. Katrina's eyes narrowed. Interesting perspective. You want to expand into new territory, Yvette continued. Dong-hyun wants to protect existing operations. Those goals aren't mutually exclusive. There's a compromise here. But you'll never find it if you're both trying to prove who's tougher. And what compromise do you suggest? Alexei asked. That's not my place. I'm just pointing out that war is expensive and unpredictable. Whereas partnership is profitable and controlled. You're all smart people. Act like it. Silence. Then Alexei smiled. Actually smiled. I like her. She has spine. The contract, Dong-hyun said. Withdrawn. No. Or there's no discussion. Katrina pulled out her phone. Made a call in Russian. Hung up. Done. The posting is down. Just like that. The immediate threat, gone. Now, Alexei said, let's talk about the real issues. The meeting lasted another hour. Yvette mostly stayed quiet. But when she did speak, both sides listened. By the end, they'd agreed to another meeting. A larger one. With terms to discuss. Not peace. But possibility. In the car afterward, Dong-hyun was quiet. Finally, thank you. That was helpful. I told you. Peaceful solutions exist. You just have to be willing to look for them. And if they'd refused? If they'd kept the contract active? Then you would have done what you needed to do. But at least you tried first. He looked at her. Really looked at her. I missed this. I missed you. Don't. We have 2 weeks. That's it. I know. He turned to look out the window. Doesn't mean I can't miss what I'm about to lose again. Back at the penthouse, Yvette collapsed in her suite. Exhausted. Wired. Terrified. She called Marcus. Hey, sorry. Long day. Just getting settled. Where are you staying? With family. It's complicated. Vet, you're scaring me. What's going on? I promise I'll explain when I get back. 2 weeks. Then we'll talk about everything. 2 weeks, he repeated. Skeptical. Okay. I love you. Love you too. She hung up. Looked at her engagement ring. Thought about the look in Dong-hyun's eyes when he said he missed her. Thought about the life she'd built in Portland. Safe. Normal. Clean. And knew deep in her bones that she was about to lose it. Because you can't serve 2 worlds. Can't love 2 lives. Eventually you have to choose. And Yvette Anderson had a terrible feeling she already knew which choice she'd make. Even if she wasn't ready to admit it yet. The next morning, Yvette woke to sunlight streaming through floor-to-ceiling windows and the smell of fresh coffee. For a confused moment, she thought she was in Portland. Then reality crashed back. She was in Dong-hyun's penthouse. In Tribeca. Because Russian mobsters had put a price on her head. Her phone showed 7 missed calls from Marcus. 3 texts. Call me. Seriously, call me? I'm starting to worry. She called. Got voicemail. Left a message. Hey, sorry. Time difference threw me off. I'm okay. Talk tonight? Liar. There was no time difference. She'd just been too exhausted, or too cowardly, to talk last night. She showered, dressed in casual clothes from her suitcase, and ventured out of her suite. The penthouse was massive. Her guest suite was apparently on the 28th floor. The main living areas were on 29. And Dong-hyun's private quarters on 30. She found the kitchen. Espresso machine that probably cost more than her car. Fresh pastries from some boutique bakery. A note in precise handwriting, help yourself. I'm in meetings until noon. Not M. Not Minnie. The formal version. She made coffee, ate a croissant that was frankly obscene and explored. The living room had art she recognized from auction catalogs. A Basquiat. A Kusama. A photograph by Cindy Sherman. Millions of dollars on the walls. But also, tucked on a shelf, the throw pillow with cartoon cats that Minnie had picked out at IKEA when he was 8. The juxtaposition broke her heart. Mrs. Choi found her there. Miss Anderson. Good morning. Dong-hyun asked me to brief you on the current situation. If you're amenable? Sure. Lead the way. They went to what Mrs. Choi called the war room. An office on the 29th floor with digital screens covering one wall. Maps. Data. Faces. Jesus, Yvette whispered. This is the Volkov Bratva operation. Mrs. Choi used a laser pointer. Alexei Volkov is the titular head. But the real power is shifting to his daughter, Katrina. Harvard MBA. Fluent in 5 languages. Brutal efficiency. Katrina's photo was up. Professional headshot. She looked like a CEO, not a crime boss. She's positioning to take over? Yvette asked. Within 2 years, our intelligence suggests. Alexei is old school. Katrina is next generation. More sophisticated. More global. And the contract on me? That was Katrina's initiative. She studied Dong-hyun. Identified his vulnerabilities. You were at the top of the list. But why? What's her endgame? Mrs. Choi pulled up another screen. Financial charts. Territory maps. The Bratva wants to consolidate power on the East Coast. Create a unified operation from Boston to Miami. But we're in the way. Dong-hyun controls too much territory, too many operations. They can't expand without either partnering with us or eliminating us. So the contract was a test. Precisely. See if Dong-hyun would sacrifice you to appear strong. Or protect you and appear weak. Either way, they learn something useful. Yvette studied Katrina's photo. She's smart. Dangerously so. But she also has blind spots. Like what? Like you did with Dong-hyun. She's trying to eliminate her humanity to prove she's worthy. Cutting off emotional connections. Isolating herself. It's making her effective but unstable. Yvette heard echoes of her own story. She's what, 28? Groomed since childhood to take over? Since age 12. Her mother was killed by a rival faction. Car bomb. Katrina was in the vehicle but survived. Alexei raised her to be unbreakable. God, no wonder. What happened to her mother's killers? Alexei eliminated the entire organization. 300 people dead over 6 months. Yvette felt sick. And Katrina watched? Participated from age 15 on. A child soldier. Just like Minnie. Mrs. Choi, can I ask you something? Of course. Do you think I failed? With Dong-hyun? Could I have done more to keep him softer? Mrs. Choi was quiet for a long moment. You gave him 16 years of compassion in a world designed to destroy compassion. That's not failure, Miss Anderson. That's miracle. He still became. He became what his blood and his circumstances demanded. But he's not his father. Kangmin was ruthless from the beginning. Dong-hyun fights it. You can see it in his decisions. The way he hesitates before violence. The way he tries diplomacy first. That's you. That's your influence. It doesn't feel like enough. It never does. But it's more than most people get. They spent the morning reviewing intelligence. Katrina's operation. Her key people. Her strategies. Around noon, Dong-hyun appeared. Still in a suit. Did he ever wear anything else? Noona. I hope Mrs. Choi hasn't overwhelmed you. I'm fine. This is a lot. We have another meeting this evening. With our senior advisors. I'd like you there. Fresh perspective. Dong-hyun. 2 weeks. You agreed. Let me use your expertise while I have it. She couldn't argue with that logic. That evening she met the inner circle. 10 people. Mix of Korean, Chinese, Russian, even one American. Ages ranging from early 30s to late 50s. All dangerous in different ways. They looked at Yvette with suspicion. The outsider. The black woman who'd somehow earned their boss's trust. One of them, James Park, 36, Korean-American, Dong-hyun CFO, was particularly cold. With all respect, he said in perfect English, why is she here? This is organizational business. Miss Anderson is my advisor, Dong-hyun said. Voice flat. Brooking no argument. She stays. The meeting was about the Volkov situation. Options. Strategies. The old guard wanted war. Show strength. Remind them who we are. The younger faction wanted negotiation. War is expensive. Attracts attention. Bad for business. Yvette listened. Took notes. Noticed dynamics. James Park kept looking at her. Not suspicion anymore. Something else. Calculation. After the meeting, Dong-hyun pulled her aside. What did you think? Your people are divided. Old guard wants blood. Young guard wants profit. You're stuck in the middle? I know. That's why I need help navigating it. Who's James Park? My CFO. Childhood friend. Why? He doesn't like me being here. He'll adjust. Will he? Dong-hyun looked tired. Everyone adjusts. Eventually. Or they leave. That night, Yvette couldn't sleep. She wandered the penthouse. Found Dong-hyun in the living room, drinking whiskey, staring at the city lights. Can't sleep either? She asked. I don't sleep much anymore. She sat down. Not too close. Minnie, Dong-hyun, are you okay? Define okay. Are you happy? He laughed. Bitter. Happy? I run an empire. I have more money than I can spend. More power than most people dream of. And I'm completely alone. So no. I'm not happy. But I'm effective. That's what matters. It doesn't have to be that way. Doesn't it? Everyone I trust eventually betrays me or leaves. My mother. My father's death. So I've learned not to trust. Not to need. Just to function. That's not living. It's surviving. In this world, that's enough. They sat in silence. Outside, Manhattan glittered like a promise. I'm sorry, Yvette said quietly. For leaving. I thought I was saving myself. But I abandoned you when you needed guidance most. I don't blame you for leaving. I blame you for staying away. What's the difference? Leaving was self-preservation. Staying away was cowardice. You could have checked in, called, visited, made sure I was okay. But you didn't. You just disappeared. Like I was a phase. A job you quit. The accusation stung because it was true. You're right. I was a coward. I couldn't face what you'd become because it felt like my failure. And what about what I felt? Losing the only person who saw me as more than a chess piece. I'm sorry. I know. He finished his whiskey. But sorry doesn't fix the 5 years you missed. The times I needed advice and had no one to ask. The times I made decisions that you would have counseled against. Like what? Like executing 3 people for embezzlement when exile would have sufficed. Like cutting ties with allies over minor disrespect. Like becoming exactly the kind of leader my father was, feared instead of respected. You still have time to change. Do I? Or am I too far gone? She looked at him. Really looked. Saw the exhaustion. The loneliness. The desperate hope hidden under layers of ice. You're 22 years old, Dong-hyun. You have decades to figure this out. But you need help. Therapy. Guidance. People who care about you, not just your power. I have you. For 2 weeks. That's not enough. Then stay. I can't. What? Because of your fiancé? Your bookstore? Your normal life? He turned to her. Be honest, Noona. Do you even want that life? Or are you just running from this one? The question hit too close. She stood. I'm going to bed. We can talk more tomorrow. We always say that. And then we don't. In her suite she called Marcus. Finally reached him. Hey. Sorry I keep missing you. What's going on, Vet? You sound different. I'm just tired. This situation is complicated. What situation? You said a friend needed help. It's family stuff. Hard to explain. Try me. She couldn't. How could she explain Dong-hyun? The empire? The fact that she'd once been godmother to a Mafia heir and was now being pulled back into that world? I can't. Not over the phone. When I get back. You keep saying when you get back. But it's starting to feel like an if. Marcus. I love you, Yvette. But I need honesty. Are you in trouble? Are you safe? Is there someone else? No. God, no. I'm dealing with something from my past. And it's harder than I thought it would be. Do you need me to come there? No. Absolutely not. I'll be home in 2 weeks. I promise. Silence. Then, okay. I'm trusting you. Don't make me regret it. After they hung up, she stared at her engagement ring. Thought about the life she'd built. The man who loved her. The future they'd planned. Then thought about Dong-hyun drinking alone. Asking her to stay. Needing her in ways Marcus never would. She was in trouble. Not from the Bratva. From her own traitorous heart that kept choosing the broken boy over the healthy man. The next morning Mrs. Choi brought news. We've intercepted communications. The Bratva is planning something. We don't know what yet. But it involves you. Involves me how? They're watching. Studying. Learning your patterns here. For what purpose? Unknown. But Katrina Volkov is personally directing the surveillance. Whatever she's planning, it's important to her. Dong-hyun called an emergency meeting. The inner circle. Plus Yvette. We need to accelerate negotiations, he said. Before they make their move. James Park spoke up. Or we make ours first. Preemptive strike. Show we're not afraid. That would start a war, Yvette said. James looked at her. And? War has its advantages. Eliminates threats permanently. And kills how many people? Draws how much federal attention? Miss Anderson, James said, voice dripping condescension, with all respect, you've been gone for 5 years. You don't understand the current landscape. I understand that violence should be a last resort, not a first move. That's exactly the kind of thinking that makes us look weak. Dong-hyun's voice cut through. Enough. James, you'll show respect. Miss Anderson's counsel is valuable. End of discussion. James backed down. But the look he gave Yvette was pure hatred. After the meeting, Mrs. Choi pulled her aside. Be careful around James Park. Why? I've known him since he was a boy. He's ambitious. Loyal to Dong-hyun, but only as long as Dong-hyun serves his interests. You think he's a threat? I think he sees you as a threat. You have Dong-hyun's ear. That's power James wants. Great. Internal politics on top of everything else. That afternoon, Yvette did something impulsive. She had Christopher drive her to Flushing. To the Golden Dragon. It looked exactly the same. Neon signs. Steam rising. The smell of grilling meat. She walked in. Different staff now, she didn't recognize anyone. Sat at the counter. A young waitress approached. Korean. Early 20s. What can I get you? Just tea, please. She sat there drinking green tea, remembering. 16 years ago, a little boy had walked through that door. Changed her entire life. What would have happened if she'd said no? Called the cops? Send him away? She'd still be slinging orders. Still be broke. Still be anonymous. But she wouldn't have this weight. This guilt. This impossible love for a boy who'd become a monster. Her phone rang. Unknown number. She answered. Hello. Miss Anderson. A woman's voice. Accented. Russian. This is Katrina Volkov. I think we should talk. Privately. Just the two of us. Yvette's heart raced. About what? About the fact that you're trying to save a man who's beyond saving. And about what I can offer you that he never can. I'm not interested. The Queensboro Bridge. South Side pedestrian walkway. Tomorrow at noon. Come alone. Or don't come at all. Your choice. The line went dead. Yvette sat there, phone in her shaking hand. What the hell was Katrina playing at? And why did part of her want to find out? Yvette knew she should tell Dong-hyun about Katrina's call immediately. But she didn't. Part of it was curiosity. Part was pride she could handle herself. But mostly, it was the need to control something. To make her own decisions instead of being protected and managed. So the next morning she told Mrs. Choi she was going shopping. Took Christopher as her driver but ditched him at Bloomingdale's, slipping out a side entrance like she was in a spy movie. Felt ridiculous. Felt alive. Took the subway to Queens, hadn't done that in years. Remembered the rhythm of it. The crowds. The diversity. The energy that was so different from Portland's mellow vibe. She walked onto the Queensboro Bridge at 11:50 a.m. November wind cutting through her jacket. The East River churning below. Katrina Volkov was already there. Designer coat. Sunglasses. Looking like she was posing for Vogue, not meeting a potential enemy. Miss Anderson. You came. I wasn't sure you would. I'm here. You have 5 minutes. Walk with me. Katrina started strolling. Yvette fell into step beside her. You're an interesting woman. Do you know that? I've studied you extensively. That's creepy. That's business. And what I learned fascinates me. You're not family. Not Korean. Not part of this world by birth. Yet you have more influence over Lee Dong-hyun than anyone alive. How? I walked him home when he was 6. Made a connection. That's all. No. That's not all. You became his conscience. His humanity. The voice telling him not to become his father. Katrina stopped, turned to face her. I understand that. More than you know. You? My father raised me to be ruthless. To eliminate weakness. To see compassion as liability. Her voice softened slightly. I had someone once. A tutor. She tried to teach me that strength and kindness weren't opposites. That I could be powerful and still human. What happened to her? My father fired her when I was 15. Said she was making me soft. I never saw her again. Pain flickered in Katrina's eyes. I think about her sometimes. Wonder who I'd be if she'd stayed. Yvette felt an unexpected pang of sympathy. Is that why you wanted to meet? To bond over difficult childhoods? No. I wanted to meet because I'm about to make you an offer. And I wanted you to understand where it comes from. I'm listening. The contract on you? That was my idea, yes. But not because I want you dead. Because I wanted to flush out a problem. What problem? Someone in Dong-hyun's organization has been feeding information to us. Financial data. Security protocols. Internal conflicts. Katrina pulled out her phone, showed Yvette encrypted messages. Someone close to him is planning a coup. Yvette's blood ran cold. Who? James Park. His CFO. Childhood friend. The world tilted. No. James has been with him. Since they were kids, I know. Orphans raised together in the organization. Practically brothers. Which makes the betrayal particularly devastating, doesn't it? Katrina swiped through photos. Bank transfers. Meeting logs. Messages between James and Bratva intermediaries. He's been embezzling. Making side deals. Building his own faction within the organization. And he's using the threat of war with us to destabilize Dong-hyun. Make him look weak. Then he'll move against him. Why are you telling me this? Because war with Lee is expensive and uncertain. But a partnership? That's profitable. James wants chaos. I want business. Katrina pocketed her phone. I give you proof of James's betrayal. You convinced Dong-hyun to work with me instead of against me. We consolidate territory peacefully. Everybody wins. Except James. Except James. Yvette's mind raced. Why should I believe you? This could be a trick. Turn Dong-hyun against his own people. It could be. But it's not. Katrina's expression turned serious. Look, I understand what it's like to be used as a pawn in men's games. You and I, we're not supposed to be here. Black woman, Russian woman, both of us navigating systems designed to exclude us. I respect that. I respect you. But you still put a price on my head. I took advantage of an opportunity that James Park created. The contract was already being discussed in your inner circle. I just made it official. Forced the issue. Jesus Christ. I'm not saying I'm a good person, Miss Anderson. I'm not. But I'm honest about what I am. And right now, what I am is someone who wants to avoid unnecessary bloodshed. Can you say the same about James Park? Yvette looked out at the river. At the city sprawling on both sides. All those people living normal lives, unaware of the chess games happening in the shadows. What kind of proof are you offering? Katrina handed her a USB drive. Financial records. Communications. Video surveillance of James meeting with my people. Everything you need. And in exchange? Convince Dong-hyun to partner with us. Territory sharing. Joint ventures. Peace instead of war. I don't have that much influence. You have all the influence. You're the only person whose opinion he trusts completely. Katrina smiled. You're his weakness, Miss Anderson. But you could also be his strength. If you choose to be. Yvette took the USB drive. Felt its weight. I need to verify this independently. Of course. I'd expect nothing less. But do it quickly. James is making his move soon. Days, maybe hours. How do you know? Because I would. The longer he waits, the more chance you'll uncover him. He'll strike while you're here. While Dong-hyun is distracted protecting you. Yvette pocketed the drive. If this is fake. It's not. And Miss Anderson? One more thing. What? When this is over. When you've saved Dong-hyun from betrayal and brokered peace between our organizations. Go back to Portland. Marry your architect. Live your normal life. Why do you care? Because I see myself in you. Fighting to be something other than what this world makes us. And I hope you succeed. Because if you can escape, maybe someday I can too. Katrina walked away. Left Yvette standing on the bridge, USB drive burning a hole in her pocket. She went straight back to the penthouse. Found Mrs. Choi. I need your help. And I need absolute discretion. They spent 3 hours in a secure room, going through the drive's contents. Mrs. Choi had tech people scrub it for malware, verify authenticity. Was all real. Bank accounts in James Park's name. Offshore transfers. Messages discussing eliminating the weak link and taking control when the opportunity presents. Video footage of James meeting with known Bratva associates in Brighton Beach. Financial records showing he'd been skimming for years. Millions. Building his own war chest. Jesus, Yvette whispered. How did we miss this? He's been careful. And he's family, we don't investigate family. Mrs. Choi looked stricken. Dong-hyun will be devastated. We need to tell him. How? James is with him right now. In meetings. Surrounded by people who might be loyal to James, not us. Then we wait until tonight. Private briefing. Just us. The wait was agony. Yvette had to sit through dinner, formal affair, multiple courses, James Park right there across the table making small talk. He'd been embezzling, betraying, planning Dong-hyun's downfall. And he smiled like nothing was wrong. Finally, at 10 p.m., Yvette got Dong-hyun alone. His office. Doors closed. I need to show you something. And you need to see it before you react. She explained the meeting with Katrina. Showed him the evidence. Watched his face as he processed it. No emotion. Just that terrible cold blankness. Dong-hyun. Leave me alone. We need to. I said leave. She left. Found Mrs. Choi waiting outside. How bad? Bad. They waited. An hour passed. Finally, Dong-hyun emerged. His face was a mask, but his eyes were devastated. Gather the inner circle. Everyone. Now. Within 30 minutes, 10 people sat around the conference table. Including James Park, looking relaxed and confident. Dong-hyun stood at the head. We have a traitor in our organization. The room went dead silent. For the past 3 years, someone has been stealing from us. Lying to us. Working with our enemies. Building power to use against us. James's face went carefully neutral. Dong-hyun pulled up the evidence on the screen. Bank records. Messages. Video. James Park. My friend since childhood. My CFO. My brother in everything but blood. His voice never wavered. Stand up. James stood. Defiant. This is manufactured. The Bratva is trying to divide us. I verified everything independently. 3 separate sources. All confirmed. Dong-hyun, you've known me your whole life. Which makes this worse. Now emotion cracked through. Rage. Bang. I trusted you. My father trusted you. And you spat on that trust for money? For power? You don't understand? Then explain. Please. Tell me why my best friend has been systematically destroying everything from the inside. James's mask finally fell. Because you're weak. Your father built this empire on strength. On fear. And you've been trying to go legitimate? Negotiating with Russians? Listening to her? He pointed at Yvette. A black woman who's not even family, who knows nothing about our world. She knows more than you ever did. Dong-hyun's voice was ice. She understands loyalty. Honor. Things you clearly don't. I'm loyal. To what we're supposed to be. Not this watered-down version you're creating. You're loyal to yourself. That's all. James lunged. Security grabbed him. You're making a mistake, he shouted. She's poisoning you. Making you soft. Your father would be ashamed. Dong-hyun walked up to him. Looked him in the eyes. My father would have killed you already. I'm giving you a choice. Live. Tonight. Disappear. Live out your life somewhere else. Or refuse and face traditional justice. Traditional justice meant execution. James spat at Dong-hyun's feet. I should have killed you years ago. But you didn't. Because you're not strong enough. You never were. Dong-hyun nodded to security. Strip him of everything. Money, access, protection. Put him on a plane to anywhere that will take him. If he ever sets foot in New York again, kill him on sight. They dragged James out. He was screaming, cursing, promising revenge. The door closed. Silence. Dong-hyun stood there, frozen. Then he picked up a crystal decanter from the bar. Threw it against the wall. Shattered. Glass everywhere. Everyone out. Now. The inner circle fled. Only Mrs. Choi and Yvette remained. You too, Dong-hyun said. Dong-hyun. Please. I need to be alone. Mrs. Choi pulled Yvette away. Give him time. But Yvette couldn't. Because she'd seen that look before. When his father died. When she'd left. The look of someone whose world had shattered. She waited 30 minutes. Then went back. Found him on the floor. Back against the wall. Knees pulled up. Head in his hands. Not crying. But shaking. She sat down next to him. Didn't touch. Just sat. He was my brother, Dong-hyun said finally. Voice broken. We grew up together. Shared everything. I trusted him with my life. I know. And he was stealing from me. Planning to kill me. For years. I know. Everyone betrays me. Everyone. My mother left. My father died. You abandoned me. And now James. He looked up. Eyes red. What's wrong with me? Why does everyone I love destroy me? Nothing's wrong with you. You trust people. That's not a weakness. It feels like one. She reached out, took his hand. James betrayed you. That's on him, not you. You were a good friend. A loyal boss. He chose greed and ambition. That's not your fault. You left too. I did. And I'm sorry. I should have stayed. Should have helped you navigate this. But I was scared and selfish. You came back. I did. He turned to her. Don't leave again. Please. I can't. I can't lose anyone else. And there it was. The truth she'd been avoiding. She'd never really left. Not in the way that mattered. Her body had gone to Portland. But her heart had stayed here. With this broken boy who'd become a broken man. Okay, she heard herself say. Okay. I'll stay. You mean it? I don't know. Maybe. We'll figure it out. He leaned his head on her shoulder. Like he was 7 again. Small and scared and needing comfort. She held him. This Mafia king. This murderer. This lost little boy. And knew she'd just made a choice that would destroy her Portland life. But looking down at him, vulnerable and shattered, she couldn't bring herself to regret it. Some people you save. Some people you can't. And some people you save over and over even when it destroys you. That's what love is. Even the complicated, toxic, impossible kind. The morning after James Park's exile, Yvette woke to find Dong-hyun already gone. A note on her door, meeting with Volkov family. Back by dinner. Thank you for last night. Last night. When she'd held him while he fell apart. When she'd promised to stay without knowing if she could keep that promise. Her phone had 17 missed calls from Marcus. She called back. Got voicemail. Left a message, I'm so sorry. Things have been crazy. Can we talk tonight? But she knew what that conversation would entail. Knew she was about to break a good man's heart. Mrs. Choi found her in the kitchen, staring at coffee she wasn't drinking. Miss Anderson. Dong-hyun asked me to inform you, he's meeting with Alexei and Katrina Volkov this morning. Formal negotiations. He wanted you to know. He didn't ask me to come? He said you've done enough. Time for him to handle this. Part of Yvette was relieved. Part was insulted. After everything he was shutting her out? How's he doing? Really? Mrs. Choi sat down. He's hurting. But he's functional. That's all we can ask. The organization, are people loyal? After James? Most are. Some are uncertain. James had followers. Loyalists who believed in his vision of a more aggressive operation. They're watching Dong-hyun closely. Waiting to see if he's strong enough. Jesus. He can't catch a break. No. He can't. Which is why having you here stabilizes things. You're a known quantity. Someone he trusts publicly. It shows continuity. I'm a prop. Your family. There's a difference. Yvette spent the morning restless. Tried to read. Couldn't focus. Tried to work on bookstore business remotely. Her heart wasn't in it. Finally, she did something she'd been avoiding. She called her mother. Baby. Patricia Anderson's voice was warm, surprised. Where are you? I tried calling your store. That girl Riley said you were out of town. I'm in New York. Dealing with something. Something to do with that boy? The one you used to talk about. Yvette had never told her mother everything. But Patricia wasn't stupid. She'd pieced together over the years that Yvette's money came from somewhere complicated. Yeah, Mama. It's about him. He in trouble? He's always in trouble. But this time it's worse. And you went running back. Not a question. A statement. I did. Patricia sighed. Yvette Marie Anderson. When you gonna learn you can't save everybody? I'm not trying to save him. I'm just helping. That what you told that nice boy Marcus? The architect. How do you know about Marcus? Because you told me about him. Send me pictures of the ring. Said you were getting married in the spring. Patricia's voice sharpened. What you doing, baby? Throwing away a good man for a bad situation? It's not that simple. It's exactly that simple. You got a choice. Safe and healthy or dangerous and toxic. And you keep choosing dangerous. Why? Because he needs me. So does Marcus. So do I. So does that bookstore you built. But you drop everything the second that boy calls. Yvette felt tears burning. You don't understand? I understand you feel guilty. Like you failed him. Like if you just try harder, sacrifice more, you can fix what's broken. But baby, some things stay broken. And you breaking yourself won't fix them. Mama. I love you. I support you. But I'm telling you the truth, you gotta choose. Portland or New York. Marcus or that boy. Normal or this life. You can't have both. I know. Do you? Because from where I'm sitting, you still pretending you got options. They talked for another 20 minutes. Lighter topics. Patricia's book club. Her neighbor's drama. Normal things. But the warning hung there. Choose. That afternoon Dong-hyun returned. He looked exhausted but satisfied. We have an agreement. Preliminary but real. He showed her the terms. Territory sharing. Joint ventures and legitimate businesses. Non-aggression pact. Regular meetings to resolve disputes. This is good, Yvette said reading through. Really good. How did Katrina react? She was surprisingly reasonable. Professional. We're meeting again next week to finalize details. And Alexei? Ready to step back. Let Katrina take the lead. She's the future. Yvette thought about her conversation with Katrina on the bridge. The loneliness. The desire to be something more. Dong-hyun, can I ask you something? Of course. Are you doing this, the legitimization, the peace, the negotiation, because you want to? Or because you think I want you to? He was quiet for a long moment. Both. I want to build something that lasts. Something that doesn't require constant violence. But I also want to be someone you're proud of. Someone worthy of your faith. I'm already proud of you. Are you? Even after everything I've become? You're not your worst decisions, Dong-hyun. You're also the kid who loved ice cream and cartoon cats. The teenager who cried when his father died. The man who's trying to find a better way. That's who I'm proud of. He looked at her with such naked hope it hurt. Will you really stay? Or were you just saying that to comfort me? And there it was. The question she'd been avoiding. I don't know, she said honestly. I want to. But I have a whole life in Portland. A fiancé. A business. People who depend on me there too. I understand. Do you? No. But I'm trying to. He stood. I should let you rest. We have another inner circle meeting tonight. Security briefing. You don't have to attend. I'll be there. That evening's meeting was tense. The inner circle was smaller now. James's loyalists had been quietly removed. New faces. Younger. More aligned with Dong-hyun's vision. But the old guard was still there. Suspicious. Watching. One of them, Kim Min-soo, 58, old-school enforcer, spoke up. With respect, the partnership with Volkov makes us look weak. We should be expanding, not sharing. Sharing is expanding, Dong-hyun said calmly. We get access to their networks. They get access to ours. Everyone profits. And when they decide they want everything, when they turn on us, then we deal with it. But we don't create problems that don't exist yet. Kim looked at Yvette. Is this her influence? Making us soft. Miss Anderson's influence, Dong-hyun said, voice dropping to dangerous quiet, has prevented a war that would have cost us millions and dozens of lives. Show respect. Kim backed down. But the resentment was clear. After the meeting, Yvette pulled Dong-hyun aside. I'm making things harder for you. They see me as weakness. They see you as change. And change is always resisted. Maybe I should go back to Portland. Let you consolidate power without the distraction. Is that what you want? I don't know what I want anymore. He touched her face gently. Figure it out, Noona. But don't leave because of them. Leave because it's right for you. Not because old men are uncomfortable with a black woman having influence. That night she finally called Marcus back. Vet. Thank God. I've been worried sick. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Things have been. Where are you? Really? She couldn't lie anymore. New York. Manhattan. With someone from my past. Silence. Then, someone like a friend? Or someone like more than a friend? Like family. Complicated family. Are you in danger? No. I'm safe. Then come home. Whatever this is, come home and we'll deal with it together. Marcus. I love you, Yvette. We're supposed to get married in 4 months. But I can't marry someone who's half present. Who's got one foot in some secret life she won't explain. I know. And you deserve better. I don't want better. I want you. But I want all of you. Can you give me that? Could she? She looked around the penthouse. The luxury. The danger. The man sleeping down the hall who needed her in ways Marcus never would. I don't know, she whispered. I honestly don't know. Then figure it out. Because I can't wait forever. He hung up. Yvette sat there, phone in her hand, engagement ring catching the light. Portland or New York? Marcus or Dong-hyun? Normal or this? Choose. The next week blurred together. Meetings with the Volkovs. Katrina and Yvette developed an odd rapport. Not friendship exactly, but mutual respect. Two women navigating a man's world. Over lunch one day, Katrina asked, "Are you staying? Or running back to safety?" "I don't know yet. Can I give you advice?" "Sure. Don't stay for him. If you stay, stay for yourself. Because you want this life, this influence, this power. Staying out of guilt or obligation will destroy you both." Speaking from experience? Watching my father. He kept my mother in this life out of love. She hated it. It poisoned them both. When she died, part of him was relieved. And he's hated himself for that relief ever since. I'm sorry. Don't be sorry. Be smart. Choose what you actually want. Not what you think you should want. Meanwhile, the legitimization process moved forward. Dong-hyun was actually doing it, transitioning operations. Closing down the most violent enterprises. Investing in legal businesses. It was slow. Painful. Met with resistance. But he was trying. And Yvette found herself enjoying it. The strategy. The negotiations. The problem solving. She was good at this. Better than she'd been at running a bookstore. That realization terrified her. 2 weeks became 3. Then 4. Riley called from Portland. "Boss, I don't want to pressure you, but I need to know, are you coming back? Because if not, I need to make other plans." "I'm coming back," Yvette said automatically. Then, "Probably. Soon." "That's not an answer." "I know. I'm sorry. Give me another week." But she knew what was happening. She was stalling. Delaying the inevitable choice. One evening, she and Dong-hyun had dinner. Just the two of them. His chef had made Korean comfort food, nothing fancy. Kimchi stew. Rice. Banchan. It felt like old times. When he was young. When she'd cook for him in her tiny apartment. "Do you remember," Dong-hyun said, "when you taught me to make grilled cheese? And I burned it so badly we had to throw away the pan?" Yvette laughed. "You were 9. And so proud when you finally got it right. I still make them sometimes. When I'm alone and want to feel normal. Do you ever regret it? This life. Every day. And never. It's who I am. Who I was always going to be." He looked at her. "Do you regret walking me home that night?" "Every day. And never." They smiled at each other. Understanding. "I've been thinking," Dong-hyun said, "about the future. About what comes next. And I want to get married eventually. Have children. Build something beyond just the organization." Yvette's heart clenched. "That's good. You should. But I can't imagine doing it without you there. Godmother to my children like you are to me. Part of our family officially." "Dong-hyun. I'm not asking you to give up Portland. Or Marcus. I'm just saying, there's room for both. You could split your time. 6 months here, 6 months there. Best of both worlds." "That's not sustainable." "Why not?" "Because eventually I'd have to choose. And I'm terrified of which choice I'll make." "Why terrified?" She looked at him. This man-child. This king. This broken thing she tried to save. "Because the healthy choice is Portland. Marcus. Normal life. Safety. But when I'm honest with myself, I'm happier here. With you. In this dangerous, complicated mess. And what does that say about me? It says you love me. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's everything wrong with that. I should love the good man offering me a healthy life. Not the crime lord who needs me to be his conscience. You can love both. Not equally. Not without someone getting hurt." Dong-hyun reached across the table. Took her hand. "Then hurt me. Choose Marcus. Choose normal. I'll survive. I always do. Will you?" "No. But I'll pretend. And eventually it'll be true." Yvette felt tears spilling. This is so fucked up. It is. But it's ours. That night she made a decision. She called Marcus. "I need to come home. We need to talk face to face." "About what?" "About us. About everything. I owe you honesty." "When?" "This weekend. I'll fly back Friday." "Okay. I love you, Yvette." "I know. I love you too." And she did. Just not enough. She told Dong-hyun the next morning. "I'm going to Portland this weekend. To end things with Marcus properly. He deserves that. And then I'm coming back. Not forever. Not full-time. But I can't just disappear again. We'll figure out some kind of arrangement." Relief flooded his face. "Thank you." "Don't thank me. I'm choosing chaos over peace. That's not something to celebrate. It is if the chaos is ours." But before she could leave for Portland, everything fell apart. Because the old guard, the traditional faction, The men who saw Dong-hyun's legitimization as betrayal? They'd been planning. And Friday morning they made their move. Yvette woke to chaos. Shouting. Running footsteps. Her door bursting open, Christopher and 2 guards. "Miss Anderson, we need to move you. Now." "What's happening?" "Attempted coup. Kim Min-soo and his faction. They've taken the lower floors. We're evacuating." Her blood ran cold. "Where's Dong-hyun?" "Secure. But we need to get you to the safe room." They rushed her through the penthouse. She could hear gunfire, actual gunfire, echoing up from below. The safe room was on the 30th floor. Reinforced steel. Communications equipment. Supplies for days. Dong-hyun was there. Along with Mrs. Choi and 3 other loyalists. He looked furious. And scared. "Noona. Thank God." "What the hell is happening?" Mrs. Choi answered. Kim Min-soo rallied the old guard. "They're claiming Dong-hyun has betrayed his father's legacy. Demanding he step down or die." "How many?" "At least 20 inside the building. Maybe more outside." Jesus Christ. Dong-hyun was on the phone, barking orders in Korean. Coordinating with people throughout the city. "Our loyal forces are responding," Mrs. Choi said. "But it'll take time. We need to hold here." "For how long?" "Hours. Maybe longer." Yvette's mind raced. "Can we negotiate? Talk to Kim?" "He's past talking. This is a coup. All or nothing." Gunfire intensified below. Someone was fighting their way up. "What about the Volkovs?" Yvette asked. "We have an alliance. Can they help?" Dong-hyun looked at her. "I can't ask them for help. We'll look weak. You'll look dead if you don't." He hesitated. Pride versus survival. "Call Katrina," Yvette said. "Woman to woman. Not official alliance business. Just asking a friend for help. We're not friends. You could be. And right now you need friends more than pride." Dong-hyun looked at Mrs. Choi. She nodded. He made the call. Katrina answered immediately. "Lee. Interesting timing. We have a situation. Internal coup. I'm calling to inform you as a courtesy, our agreement stands regardless of outcome. And I could use assistance. If you're willing to provide it." Silence. Then, "What's in it for me?" "Proof that our alliance is real. That we support each other. And you'd have leverage I'd owe you." Tempting. "Put Miss Anderson on the phone." Dong-hyun handed Yvette the phone, confused. "Katrina." "Yvette. Is he really in danger or is this a test? People are trying to kill us as we speak. This is very real. And he's asking for help. That must have hurt his pride." "It did. But he's learning. Please. I know we barely know each other, but I'll send people. 20 minutes. Tell him to hold the 30th floor. We'll clear from below." "Thank you." "Don't thank me. This is business. But also." Katrina paused. "I like you. I'd hate to see you die in some stupid power play." The line disconnected. 20 minutes felt like hours. They listened to the fighting below. Dong-hyun's loyalists holding the stairs. But barely. Then suddenly new gunfire. Different pattern. Mrs. Choi monitoring communications. Volkov forces have entered the building. They're engaging Kim's people. The battle intensified. Then gradually quieted. 30 minutes later all clear. Katrina herself appeared at the safe room door. Designer tactical gear, only she could make body armor look fashionable. "Lee. You're welcome." "Thank you," Dong-hyun said stiffly. "Kim Min-soo is in custody. His key lieutenants dead or captured. Your building is secure. What do you want in return?" "Nothing. Today. But you owe me. Remember that." After she left, Dong-hyun collapsed into a chair. 15 dead. 15 of our people. Because they thought I was weak. "You're not weak," Yvette said. "You're smart. You called for help when you needed it. I looked weak. You looked human. There's a difference." But the damage was done. The organization was fractured. Trust was shattered. Over the next week, Dong-hyun had to rebuild. Prove his strength. Punish the traitors publicly. Yvette watched him do things that made her sick. Executions. Torture. Displays of brutal power. This was the cost of survival in his world. And she just signed up to be part of it again. Her trip to Portland got postponed. Then canceled. She called Marcus. "I can't come this weekend. There was an incident." "I'm okay, but things are complicated." "What kind of incident?" "I can't explain over the phone." "Yvette, you're scaring me. Are you in danger?" "I'm safe now." "Now. What happened before?" She couldn't tell him. Couldn't explain that she'd just survived a coup attempt. That people had died protecting her. I think we need to talk, she said quietly. Not over the phone. But, honestly. About everything. Are you breaking up with me? I don't know. Maybe. I'm so sorry, Marcus. You deserve so much better than this. I don't want better. I want you. But I can't compete with whatever you've got pulling you back to New York. It's not a competition. Isn't it? Because from where I'm standing, New York is winning. After they hung up, she looked at her engagement ring. Took it off. Set it on the dresser. Dong-hyun found her that evening. I saw you without your ring. I'm ending things with Marcus. It's not fair to him. I'm sorry. Are you? Yes. You were happy in Portland. I took that from you. You didn't take anything. I made a choice. A choice I forced. No. A choice I've been running from for 5 years. I belong here. In this mess. With you. I hate it. But it's true. He sat down next to her. What if you didn't have to choose? What if we made it work? You keep the bookstore, visit Portland regularly, but also be here when I need you? That's not sustainable long-term. Then we'll figure out long-term when it comes. For now, just stay. She looked at him. This broken king. This man she'd shaped and failed and loved and resented in equal measure. Okay. I'll stay. But even as she said it, she knew something had shifted. The coup attempt. The violence. The reality of what his life meant. She couldn't pretend anymore. Couldn't separate the good parts from the terrible parts. This was all of it. The luxury and the blood. The love and the horror. And she was choosing it anyway. To consolidate power and celebrate the new alliance, Dong-hyun planned a gala. December 15th. Metropolitan Museum of Art. Black tie. Politicians, business leaders, crime bosses from across the East Coast. A show of strength. A message, we survived, we're unified, we're unstoppable. Yvette didn't want to go. But Dong-hyun insisted. I need you there. Visible. By my side. Showing that we're stable. I'm not part of your organization. Your family. That's more important. So she went shopping with Mrs. Choi. Found a dress that cost more than her monthly revenue in Portland. Emerald green. Elegant. Powerful. Got her hair done professionally. Makeup. The full treatment. When she looked in the mirror, she barely recognized herself. She looked like she belonged. In this world of wealth and danger. And that terrified her. The gala was stunning. The Met's Temple of Dender transformed into a winter wonderland. Ice sculptures. String quartet. Champagne that cost hundreds per bottle. Yvette walked in on Dong-hyun's arm. Every eye turned. The Black Godmother and the young Korean king. Whispers. Stares. Some admiring. Some hostile. She held her head high. Katrina was there with her father. She caught Yvette's eye. Nodded respect. The evening progressed. Speeches. Toasts. Networking. Yvette made small talk with people who ran empires built on suffering. Smiled and played her part. Around 10 p.m. she needed air. Found a balcony overlooking the park. Marcus called. She answered without thinking. Hello. I saw the photos. On social media. You at some gala in a designer dress. Who is he, Yvette? The man you're with. It's complicated. Everyone keeps saying that. What's complicated? Are you with someone else or not? No. He's family. The person I told you about. The one I helped raise. You raised him? He looks 30. He's 22. I met him when he was 6. It's a long story. Then tell me. Because from here it looks like you've been lying about everything. Your past, your money, who you really are. I haven't been lying. I've been protecting you from things you don't need to know. Don't I get to decide what I need to know? Before she could answer, alarms blared. Screaming inside. Gunfire. Again. Vet? What's that noise? What's happening? She dropped the phone. Ran inside. Chaos. People running. Guards forming perimeters. A targeted attack. Professional. Quick. Not trying to kill everyone. Trying to kill someone specific. Dong-hyun. Yvette found him surrounded by guards. Blood on his shirt. Not his, someone else's. What happened? Sniper. Missed me. Hit Senator Park instead. Dead body on the floor. Panic everywhere. We need to evacuate, Mrs. Choi said. Now. They rushed Dong-hyun out a service exit. Yvette right behind. Into armored vehicles. Racing through Manhattan. Behind them, sirens. Police. Ambulances. The gala was supposed to show strength. Instead, it showed vulnerability. Someone wanted Dong-hyun dead badly enough to risk a public assassination. And they'd almost succeeded. Back at the penthouse, now with triple security, Dong-hyun paced. Furious. Oh, who would be stupid enough? Maybe the Colombian cartel, Mrs. Choi suggested. Or remnants of Kim's faction. Or someone new, Yvette said quietly. Someone we haven't identified yet. Dong-hyun looked at her. You think we have another traitor? I think you have enemies everywhere. And one of them is getting very bold. That night, Yvette couldn't sleep. She found her phone. 17 missed calls from Marcus. She called back. He answered immediately. Are you okay? I heard gunshots and then nothing. I'm fine. There was an incident at the event. But I'm safe. Yvette, what the hell is going on? Who are these people? She sat down, took a breath, and told him. Not everything, but enough. About Dong-hyun, the organization, the danger, the life she'd been part of for 16 years. Silence when she finished. Then, you're involved with the Mafia? Not involved. I'm affiliated. Through family. Family you raised? Is he your son? Godson. But yes, I helped raise him. And now you're in danger because of him? Sometimes. But also protected. This is insane, Vet. This is actually insane. I know. You need to get out. Come home. Let the police handle it. I can't. Why not? Because he needs me. And because I love him. Not romantically. But I love him like he's mine. And I can't abandon him. Not again. Even if it costs you your life? Your future? Us. Yes. Silence. Heavy. Final. Then I can't do this, Marcus said. Voice breaking. I love you. But I can't compete with that level of loyalty to someone else. I can't build a life with someone who might die protecting a crime boss. I understand. I hope you're happy, Vet. I really do. But I can't be part of this. He hung up. Yvette sat there, phone in her hand, and felt the last piece of her normal life die. She'd made her choice. New York. Dong-hyun. This dangerous, impossible life. And there was no going back. The investigation into the gala assassination attempt took weeks. December bled into January 2032. New Year. No resolution. Yvette officially closed her Portland bookstore. Sold it to Riley at a discount. Packed up her house. Put it on the market. Her mother called. You really doing this? Giving up everything for that boy? He's not a boy anymore, Mama. Then what is he? He's family. And family doesn't give up on family. Even when family is poison? Yvette didn't have an answer for that. She moved into her own apartment in Manhattan. Tribeca Loft. Expensive but not Dong-hyun's penthouse. She needed some independence. Took an official position, strategic advisor to Lee Enterprises, the legitimate holding company. Salary, $400,000 a year. Blood money dressed in business casual. The organization was stabilizing. The Volkov alliance was holding. Legitimate businesses were actually turning profits. But the threats continued. January 15th. Car bomb outside Yvette's building. She wasn't in the car, had taken the subway that day on a whim. Pure luck. January 28th. Poison attempt. Her coffee at a meeting. Caught by the tester. Someone wanted her dead. Specifically. Consistently. It's not the Bratva, Katrina confirmed in a private meeting. We're monitoring our people. This is someone else. Then who? Someone who understands that hurting you hurts Dong-hyun more than anything else. They increased security. Yvette lived in a bubble. Guards. Drivers. No spontaneous anything. She hated it. But she was alive. Dong-hyun was spiraling. Every attempt on her life made him more paranoid. More violent in his responses. I'm going to find whoever's doing this, he said one night. And I'm going to make them beg for death. Minnie? Don't call me that and don't tell me to be merciful. They're trying to kill you. Mercy is off the table. She saw him becoming what he tried not to be. Ruthless. Brutal. His father's son completely. And she was the cause. February brought a break in the case. Mrs. Choi called Yvette at 3 a.m. We found him. The person ordering the hits. Who? You need to come to the warehouse in Red Hook. Now. Yvette arrived to find Dong-hyun, Mrs. Choi, and several guards surrounding a man tied to a chair. Chinese. 40s. Bloody from interrogation. This is Zhang Wei, Mrs. Choi said. Mid-level boss in the triad. He's been coordinating the attempts on your life. Why? Yvette asked. Zhang spat blood. Because Li dishonors his father's memory. Makes us all weak. Better to destroy him through you than face him directly. So this is about Dong-hyun, not me? You're nothing. Just a tool. But you make him vulnerable. Remove you, he either breaks or becomes strong. Either way we win. Dong-hyun pulled out a gun. Put it to Zhang's head. Wait, Yvette said. Why? Because killing him changes nothing. Someone else will just take his place. So what do you suggest? Let him live after he tried to murder you? No. I suggest we make an example. But smart. Strategic. Not just violence. Dong-hyun lowered the gun. I'm listening. Yvette turned to Zhang. Who else is involved? Who's funding this? Zhang stayed silent. You're going to die tonight, she said calmly. That's certain. The only question is how. Quick and painless? Or slow and terrible? Your choice. Zhang looked at her. Saw she meant it. He talked. Named names. Locations. Funding sources. A coalition. Not massive but significant. Triads, remnants of the old guard, even some younger opportunists. All united by one goal, destabilize Dong-hyun by targeting Yvette. When Zhang finished, Dong-hyun shot him. Single bullet. Cling. Yvette flinched but didn't look away. Now what? She asked. Now we eliminate them. All of them. One night. Coordinated strikes. That's going to start a war. They already started the war. We're finishing it. Mrs. Choi pulled up maps. Locations. Targets. This was happening. Full military operation. I want to help, Yvette said. Absolutely not. I'm the reason this is happening. I should be part of the response. You're not trained for this. Then I'll stay in command center. Coordinate. But don't shut me out. Dong-hyun looked at her. Saw the determination. Okay. But you follow orders. If I say run, you run. Deal. February 20th. Operation Cleansing. Simultaneous strikes on 15 locations across New York and New Jersey. Dong-hyun coordinated with the Volkovs. They wanted stability too. Yvette sat in the command center. Digital screens showing real-time feeds. She watched men die. Watched buildings burn. Watched Dong-hyun's forces eliminate everyone who'd threatened her. It was brutal. Efficient. Horrifying. And it worked. By sunrise the coalition was destroyed. Leaders dead. Operations shattered. The message was clear. Touch what belongs to Lee Dong-hyun and you don't just die, your entire organization dies. 53 people dead in one night. Because of her. Yvette threw up in the bathroom afterward. Dong-hyun found her there. It's done. You're safe now. Safe? 53 people died. 53 people who tried to kill you. Who would have tried again and again until they succeeded. I can't live with this. With being the reason for mass murder. You're not the reason. They chose to target you. I chose to protect you. This is on them and me. Not you. But she felt the weight anyway. The blood on her hands even if she hadn't pulled triggers. This was the cost. Of being loved by a monster. Of loving one back. In the aftermath the organization consolidated. Rivals backed off. The Volkov alliance strengthened. Peace through overwhelming force. Yvette moved through the days numb. Going through motions. Dong-hyun noticed. Talk to me. I don't know if I can do this. This life. The violence. The constant danger. You can leave. I'll protect you from a distance. That's not protection. That's being a prisoner somewhere else. Then what do you want? I want to go back in time and not walk you home. I want to have never met you. I want my normal life back. The words hung there. Brutal. True. Dong-hyun's face went blank. I understand. Do you? Yes. You regret me. You wish I'd never existed in your life. I felt that way about myself since I was 17. Minnie? Don't? You stood. You're right. You should go. Not forever. Just until you figure out if you can actually stomach this. Because I can't have you here hating me. Hating yourself. It's destroying us both. Where would I go? Anywhere. I'll set you up. New identity if you want. New life. And when you're ready, if you're ready, you can come back. And if I never come back? Then I'll know. And I'll finally let you go. He left her there. For the first time in months, Yvette was alone with her thoughts. And she realized she didn't want to leave. She was horrified by the violence. Traumatized by the danger. But the thought of leaving Dong-hyun permanently, of abandoning him to this life alone, hurt worse than all of it. What did that say about her? She found him in his office. Late night. Drinking whiskey. I'm staying. He looked up, surprised. Why? Because despite everything, the violence, the fear, the moral bankruptcy, I can't imagine my life without you in it. Your family. Dysfunctional, toxic, dangerous family. But family. You deserve better. Probably. But I'm choosing this anyway. He stood. Walked to her. I'll try to be better. Less violent. More measured. I'll try to be someone you don't regret. You can't change who you are. And I'm not asking you to. I'm just asking you to let me help guide you. Keep you human where possible. Deal? They hugged. Long tight. Like they were both holding on for dear life. Because they were. This was their relationship. Codependent. Unhealthy. Impossible to walk away from. Yvette Anderson had officially chosen chaos over peace. And God helped them both. Spring 2032 arrived with deceptive gentleness. Cherry blossoms in Central Park. Longer days. The kind of weather that made you forget you lived in a city built on blood and ambition. Yvette had been back in New York for 5 months now. Officially. Permanently. Her apartment in Tribeca was fully furnished. Art on the walls. Some of it gifts from Dong-hyun, some she'd bought herself. Plants she actually kept alive. A routine that felt almost normal. Mornings, coffee at a local cafe she'd vetted for safety. Reading the Times. Planning her day. Afternoons, meetings at Lee Enterprises. Reviewing contracts, consulting on strategy, attending board meetings for the legitimate businesses. Evenings, sometimes dinners with Dong-hyun, sometimes alone, sometimes with the strange collection of people who'd become her social circle. Mrs. Choi. Katrina Volkov. A few trusted members of the organization. She'd become someone she barely recognized. Not Yvette Anderson from Bed-Stuy who'd dreamed of owning a cafe. Not the waitress from Queens who'd walked a lost boy home. Someone else entirely. Someone with power. Influence. Blood on her hands she'd never wash clean. Her therapist, a new one in Manhattan, one who specialized in high-stress professions, which was code for mob-adjacent, called it integration. You're integrating the different parts of yourself, Dr. Rebecca Stein said during their weekly sessions. The caregiver, the strategist, the survivor. They're all you. They feel like different people. Because you've lived different lives. But you're choosing which one to inhabit now. That's growth. Choosing to be complicit in organized crime is growth? Choosing to stop running from yourself is growth. Yvette wasn't sure she agreed. But she kept going to therapy. Kept trying to make sense of her choices. Patricia called every Sunday. Their conversations had evolved. How's the boy? Her mother would ask. He's fine. Getting better at negotiation, worse at patience. And you? You happy? I don't know if happy is the word. But I'm present. Engaged. Living intentionally instead of running. That's something, baby. That's something. They'd reached a détente. Patricia didn't approve. But she'd stopped fighting it. Just promise me one thing, Patricia had said last month. Promise me you're not just doing this out of guilt. That you're actually choosing it. I promise, Mama. And she meant it. Mostly. The organization was thriving. The legitimization process Dong-hyun had started was actually working. Lee Enterprises now owned a real estate portfolio worth $800 million. Tech startups in AI and green energy. Import, export businesses actually legal now. Entertainment venues. A venture capital fund. The criminal operations still existed. Reduced but present. Gambling. Some loan sharking. Protection services. But the balance had shifted. 70% legitimate, 30% criminal. It was progress. Yvette's role had expanded. She wasn't just advising anymore. She was actively involved. Negotiating leases. Vetting business partners. Managing public relations. Even meeting with politicians. Carefully, always carefully. She'd become the face of Lee Enterprises in many ways. The respectable front. The black woman with the impressive resume which they'd carefully constructed, who made the organization seem diverse, modern, progressive. It felt like selling out and selling up simultaneously. One afternoon in April, she had lunch with Katrina Volkov at a trendy spot in Soho. Their friendship had deepened. Two women navigating impossible positions. Understanding each other in ways no one else could. My father's officially retiring, Katrina said over salads neither of them was really eating. End of the year. I'll be taking over completely. How do you feel about that? Terrified. Relieved. Powerful. Trapped. Katrina smiled wryly. All of it at once. That sounds about right. And you? How's domestic life with your crime prince? We're not. I know. But the way he looks at you. Katrina shook her head. If I didn't know better, I'd say he's in love with you. He loves me. But not romantically. It's more complicated than that. Is it? Or is that just what you tell yourself? Yvette shifted uncomfortably. He sees me as a mother figure. A mentor. The person who raised him. And you see him as? My godson. My responsibility. Someone I love despite, or maybe because of, how broken he is. That's not healthy. Nothing about this life is healthy. True. Katrina sipped her wine. Can I ask you something personal? Sure. Do you ever want more? Romance? Partnership? Sex? Or has this life consumed all of that? Yvette thought about Marcus. About the normal life she'd walked away from. I want it. Sometimes. But I can't imagine bringing someone into this world. It's not fair to them. So you're choosing loneliness. I'm choosing safety. For them. That's very noble. Also very sad. They sat in silence for a moment. Katrina, can I ask you something? Of course. Do you ever think about leaving? Just walking away from all of it? Katrina's laugh was bitter. Every single day. But where would I go? This is all I know. All I've been trained for. Without the organization, I'm just a woman with a useless Harvard MBA and a talent for violence. You're more than that. Am I? Are you? The question haunted Yvette for days. Was she more than this role she'd carved out? This position she'd accepted? Or had she become so integrated into the organization that she'd lost herself entirely? Late April brought complications from an unexpected source. Dong-hyun started dating. Her name was Jennifer Kim. 24. Korean American. Columbia law student. Beautiful. Smart. Completely normal. She had no idea who Dong-hyun really was. Thought he was just a successful businessman. He'd met her at a charity function. Asked her out. Moved cautiously. Yvette found out when he brought her to Sunday dinner at his penthouse. Noona, this is Jennifer. Jennifer, this is Yvette Anderson, my godmother. Jennifer was lovely. Polite. Intelligent. Asked thoughtful questions about Yvette's background, her work, her interests. Over dinner, Yvette watched them together. Dong-hyun was different. Lighter. More relaxed. He laughed at Jennifer's jokes. Asked about her studies. Seemed genuinely interested. It was the most normal she'd ever seen him. And it made her inexplicably sad. After Jennifer left, Yvette confronted him. You can't drag her into this life. I'm not. She knows me as a businessman. That's all. For now. But what happens when she wants to meet your family? Your friends? When she starts asking questions about where your money really comes from? I'll handle it. How? By lying forever? By keeping her in the dark about who you actually are. My father did it with my mother for years. And look how that ended. Your mother left, Minnie. Went back to Korea because she couldn't handle the truth. His jaw tightened. Don't call me Minnie. And I'm not my father. I can make this work. Can you? Can you really have a normal relationship while running a criminal empire? You seem to think you could. With Marcus. The words were a knife. That was different. How? Because you're allowed to want normal but I'm not. Because I wasn't trying to deceive Marcus. He knew something was complicated about my past. And I'll tell Jennifer. Eventually. When the time is right. And if she runs? Then she runs. But at least I'll have tried. Yvette realized she was being unfair. Projecting her own failures onto him. I'm sorry. You deserve happiness. Normal happiness. I just don't want to see you hurt. His expression softened. I know. But I need to try this. Need to prove to myself I can have something good. Something clean. Over the next month, Jennifer became a fixture. Dinners twice a week. Weekend brunches. She even met Mrs. Choi, who played the role of family advisor perfectly. Yvette watched Dong-hyun fall. Actually fall. In love. Like a normal 22-year-old. It was beautiful and terrifying. Because she knew, they all knew, it couldn't last. Jennifer was smart. She started noticing things. Why do you always have security? She asked one evening at dinner. Yvette was there as chaperone. Wealthy people need protection, Dong-hyun said smoothly. Kidnapping risk. But why so many? And why do they look like soldiers? I'm cautious. Jennifer turned to Yvette. Has he always been this paranoid? He has reason to be, Yvette said carefully. His father was protective. It rubbed off. Jennifer didn't look convinced, but she let it drop. For now. May brought another crisis. The FBI started circling. Agent Sarah Martinez. 38. Sure. Specialized in organized crime. She'd been building a case for months. Following money trails. Interviewing witnesses. Connecting dots. And she wanted to talk to Yvette. The approach came at the cafe where Yvette had her morning coffee. Miss Anderson? I'm Agent Martinez, FBI. Can we talk? Yvette's blood went cold. I have nothing to say. I think you do. I think you're involved with Lee Dong-hyun's organization. I think you're laundering money through legitimate businesses. And I think you have information that could help us. I'm a strategic consultant for a legal corporation. Nothing more. Is that why you survived 3 assassination attempts this winter? Because you're just a consultant. Yvette stood. If you have questions, talk to my lawyer. We can do this easy or hard, Miss Anderson. Cooperate now, get immunity, start over. Or wait until we have enough to arrest you. Your choice. I'm choosing my lawyer. She walked out. Called Mrs. Choi immediately. The FBI approached me. Agent Martinez. We know. She's been investigating for months. Don't talk to her. Don't engage. We have lawyers handling it. But the damage was done. The FBI was closing in. Emergency meeting that night. Dong-hyun, Mrs. Choi, senior advisors, and Yvette. How much do they have? Dong-hyun asked the lawyer. Expensive, connected, brilliant. Enough to make life difficult. Not enough to indict yet. They're fishing. Looking for someone to flip. All eyes turned to Yvette. I'm not flipping, she said firmly. I'm not cooperating. They'll offer you immunity, the lawyer warned. Clean slate. New identity. Freedom. I don't want it. Even if it means prison? Even then. Dong-hyun looked at her. You don't have to do this. You could take the deal. Start over. Actually escape. I'm not leaving you to deal with this alone. It's my empire. My consequences. And my choice. After the meeting, Dong-hyun pulled her aside. What? Why would you risk prison for me? Because 16 years ago, a scared little boy trusted me enough to ask for help. And I said yes. I'm not unsaying it now just because things got hard. That little boy became a criminal. That little boy became a man I'm proud of. Despite everything. Because of everything. And I'm not abandoning him. He hugged her. Tight. Desperate. I don't deserve you. Probably not. But you're stuck with me anyway. The FBI pressure increased. Subpoenas. Interviews. Surveillance. Yvette lived with the constant awareness that everything she said, everywhere she went, was being monitored. Jennifer noticed the stress. Are you okay? She asked Dong-hyun. You seem tense lately. Just work stuff. It'll pass. But Jennifer was too smart. She started digging. Googled Lee Dong-hyun. Found articles about his father. About the organization. About rumors and allegations. She confronted him in June. Who are you really? Dong-hyun had been dreading this. I'm the same person I've always been. No, you're not. Because the person I thought you were doesn't have FBI agents watching his building. Doesn't have Wikipedia articles about his father's alleged criminal empire. Doesn't have people afraid to say his name. Jennifer. Tell me the truth. Are you involved in organized crime? He could have lied. Should have lied. But he was so tired of lying. Yes. She stepped back like he'd slapped her. What? My father ran an organization. Import-export, legitimate businesses, but also other things. When he died, I inherited it. I'm trying to transition everything legitimate, but it takes time. The FBI is investigating legacy issues, not current operations. Legacy issues? Jesus Christ. What kind of legacy issues? Things I can't discuss. For your protection and mine. My protection? I'm dating a mobster. Former operations. I'm cleaning everything up. You lied to me. For months. Let me think you were just some successful businessman when you're actually... I'm the same person you've been dating. The same person who cares about you. Nothing about us was a lie. Everything about us was a lie. You built our entire relationship on deception. She grabbed her bag. Headed for the door. Jennifer, please? Don't contact me. Don't come near me. We're done. She left. Dong-hyun stood there. Destroyed. Yvette arrived 20 minutes later. Mrs. Choi had called her. She found him drinking. Staring at nothing. She left. I heard. I told her the truth and she left. Just like everyone does. Minnie? You were right. I can't have normal. I can't have good. This life poisons everything. Yvette sat next to him. Took the bottle. You can have normal. Just not right now. Not while everything's complicated. But someday. There is no someday. This is it. This is my life. Power and loneliness and people I care about running away. I didn't run. You should have. But I didn't. He looked at her. Eyes red. Broken. Why? Why do you stay when everyone else leaves? Because I love you. Because you're mine. Because I made a promise 16 years ago and I keep my promises. Even when I don't deserve it? Especially then. He leaned his head on her shoulder. Like he was 7 again. Small and scared and needing comfort. She held him. This man-child. This king. This disaster she'd helped create. And knew she'd hold him for as long as he needed. Because that's what family does. Even the fucked up kind. Summer arrived. The FBI case continued building. Jennifer didn't come back. Dong-hyun threw himself into work. Harder. Colder. More ruthless. Yvette watched him regress. Become more like his father. Less like the man she tried to help him be. And she wondered if she'd made everything worse by staying. If her presence, her refusal to let him hit bottom, was enabling him instead of helping him. But she stayed anyway. Because leaving would kill him. And she couldn't live with that. One night in August they had dinner. Just the two of them. Do you ever regret it? Dong-hyun asked. Staying? Giving up your normal life. Every day. Then why not leave? Because regret and wrong aren't the same thing. I regret the cost. But I don't regret the choice. Even with the FBI closing in? Even with potentially going to prison? Even then. He looked at her. I don't understand you. Good. Stay confused. It means I'm still surprising you. He almost smiled. You're the only good thing in my life, Noona. That's sad. Maybe. But it's true. They sat in comfortable silence. Two people bound by history and love and choices neither could undo. What happens if they arrest you? Dong-hyun asked quietly. Then you get me a very good lawyer. And you visit me on weekends. I'm serious. So am I. I'm not flipping. I'm not cooperating. Whatever happens, we face it together. That's stupid and loyal and exactly like you. I know. He reached across the table. Took her hand. Thank you. For everything. For staying. For not giving up on me even when you should have. You're welcome. But Minnie? Yeah. You have to start building your own life. Not just revolving around me and the organization. Real relationships. Real happiness. Real normal. I tried. It didn't work. Try again. Keep trying. Because someday I'll be gone, old age, illness, whatever, and you can't be alone forever. You're not allowed to die. That's not how life works. It's how my life works. You're not allowed. She squeezed his hand. Okay. I'll try not to. As summer faded into fall, Yvette realized something. She was happy. Not constantly. Not without complications. But genuinely deeply happy. She had purpose. She had family. She had a life that mattered even if it was morally complicated. She'd stopped running. Stopped wishing she was someone else. She was Yvette Anderson. Godmother to a crime lord. Strategic advisor to an empire. A black woman who'd carved out power in a world that never expected her. Flawed. Complicit. But authentically herself. And that was enough. For now. October 2032. The FBI made its move. Agent Martinez arrived at Lee Enterprises with a warrant. Not for arrest, not yet. But for records. Documents. Evidence. They took servers. Files. Laptops. Dong-hyun watched it happen with forced calm. This is harassment, his lawyer protested. This is an investigation, Martinez countered. Into money laundering, racketeering, and conspiracy. We have probable cause. Yvette was there. Martinez made eye contact with her. Last chance, Miss Anderson. Cooperate now or go down with them. I have nothing to say without my lawyer. Your loyalty is admirable. And stupid. You're not family. You're not blood. Why protect them? Because family isn't blood. It's choice. And I choose them. Martinez shook her head. We'll see how committed you are when you're facing 20 years. The raid made news. Headlines: FBI investigates Lee business empire. Young mogul's dark connections. Dong-hyun's legitimate businesses suffered. Investors got nervous. Partners started distancing themselves. The criminal side had its own problems. Rivals saw weakness. Started encroaching. The empire was under siege from all sides. Emergency meeting. The full inner circle. Plus Katrina Volkov, their alliance meant she was invested in their survival. We have options, the lawyer said. Cooperate minimally. Turn over some low-level people. Show good faith. No, Dong-hyun said flatly. We don't sacrifice our people. Then we fight. Tie them up in court for years. Drain their resources. Cost. Tens of millions. Maybe hundreds. And no guarantee of winning. Third option, Katrina said. Accelerate the legitimization. Shut down all remaining criminal operations. Go completely clean. Give the FBI nothing to prosecute. That's capitulation, one of the old guards said. That's survival, Katrina countered. What's the point of an empire if it's demolished by federal prosecution? Dong-hyun looked at Yvette. What do you think? All eyes turned to her. The outsider. The black woman who somehow had the boss's ear. She took a breath. I think Katrina's right. The criminal operations are legacy. Your father's world. Not yours. If you want to build something that lasts, something you can actually pass to your children someday, it has to be clean. Or clean enough. My father built this organization. Your father is dead. And his world is dying. You can either die with it or evolve past it. Silence. It's a betrayal, someone muttered. It's survival, Yvette repeated. And it's strategy. The FBI wants to take down a crime syndicate. Don't be one. Be a legitimate corporation that used to have questionable ties. Dong-hyun looked around the table. Saw the division. The old guard resistant. The younger generation intrigued. We vote, he said. Full circle. Majority decides. The vote was close. 6-5 in favor of going completely legitimate. The old guard lost. Some of them walked out. Quit on the spot. You're destroying everything your father built, one of them said. Dong-hyun watched them go. My father built an empire that killed him at 47. I'm building something that might let me live to see grandchildren. Over the next month, they dismantled the criminal operations. Gambling dens, closed. Loan sharking shut down. Protection rackets, ended. It was brutal. People lost income. Some left the organization entirely. But the legitimate businesses stabilized. Investors stopped panicking. The FBI's case weakened, hard to prosecute crimes that were actively being terminated. Agent Martinez wasn't done though. November 12th. She approached Yvette again. At her apartment building. You're making a mistake. I'm living my life. You're complicit in organized crime. We have evidence. Financial records. Testimony. You're going to prison, Miss Anderson. Unless you cooperate. What do you want? Testimony against Lee Dong-hyun. Details about the organization. How it operates. Who's involved? I don't have that information. You're his godmother. You're at every meeting. Don't insult my intelligence. Yvette looked at this woman, dedicated, smart, doing her job. Agent Martinez, can I tell you something honestly? Sure. I understand why you're doing this. You see criminals and you want justice. But Dong-hyun isn't the monster you think he is. He's a kid who inherited an impossible situation and is trying to make it better. By running a criminal empire? By transitioning it into something legitimate. By trying to break cycles his father started. He's not perfect, but he's trying. That doesn't excuse the crimes. No, it doesn't, but it should matter. Intent. Trajectory. The fact that he's actively moving away from criminality. The law doesn't care about intent. Only actions. Then the law is incomplete. Martinez studied her. You really believe in him? I do. Even knowing he's killed people? Ordered executions? Built wealth on suffering? Yes. Because I also know he's saved people. Protected communities. Tried to be better than what he was raised to be. People are complicated, Agent Martinez. Even criminals. I can't let him walk because you believe he's trying. I'm not asking you to. I'm asking you to see the whole picture. Not just the crimes. But the context. The change. The future he's trying to build. Martinez shook her head. I have a job to do. So do I. And my job is protecting my family. Even if it costs you your freedom? Yes. Martinez left. Yvette knew she'd tried her last negotiation. Now it was just waiting. December arrived. Holiday season. The city dressed in lights and false cheer. Dong-hyun planned something unexpected. I want to throw a party. For you. Celebrating 10 years since you came back into my life. It's been 6 months. Since you came back this time. But 10 years since my 17th birthday. When you left but I knew you'd come back eventually. That's weirdly specific. I want to celebrate you. Everything you've done. Everything you've sacrificed. I don't need a party. I do. Please, let me do this. She couldn't refuse. December 20th. The party was at Dong-hyun's penthouse. Intimate. Just family. Mrs. Choi. Katrina Volkov. A few trusted inner circle members. And, surprisingly, Patricia. Yvette's mother had flown in from Florida. Mama. You're here. Did you think I'd miss this? The boy called me personally. Very respectful. Patricia met Dong-hyun for the first time. So you're the one my daughter gave up everything for? Yes, ma'am. And I'm eternally grateful. Patricia looked him up and down. You better be. And you better deserve it. I'm trying to, ma'am. Patricia softened slightly. I can see why she loves you. You got good eyes. Hurt eyes, but good. Dinner was elaborate. Course after course. Toasts and stories. Mrs. Choi told embarrassing tales of young Dong-hyun. Katrina shared the story of how Yvette had negotiated their alliance. Patricia talked about raising Yvette in bed-stewie. Yvette felt surrounded by love. Complicated, messy, imperfect love. But real. After dinner, Dong-hyun stood. I want to say something. Noona, Yvette, 16 years ago you made a choice. You walked a scared kid home in the rain. You didn't have to. You had every reason to say no. But you said yes. He pulled out a small box. This isn't a proposal. It's a promise. You're my family. Officially. Legally. I've had papers drawn up. You're listed as my next of kin. My emergency contact. My heir if anything happens before I have children. Yvette's eyes filled with tears. Minnie? And this? He opened the box. Inside was a necklace. Gold chain with a small pendant. The tiger. His family crest. Is a symbol. You're part of this family. Always. No matter what. She couldn't speak. Just nodded. Let him put the necklace on her. Everyone raised glasses. To family, Katrina said. The kind you choose. To family, they echoed. The party wound down. Guests left. Patricia hugged Yvette tight. I still think you're crazy. But I see it now. Why you stayed. He needs you. And you need to be needed. Just promise me you'll take care of yourself too. I promise, Mama. After everyone was gone, Yvette and Dong-hyun sat in the living room. City lights twinkling below. Thank you for tonight, she said. It was perfect. You deserve perfect. I don't know about that. But I'll take it. They sat in comfortable silence. What happens now? Dong-hyun asked. With the FBI? With everything? I don't know. We keep moving forward. Keep building. Keep trying to be better. And if they arrest you? Then you visit me every week. And you keep going. Keep legitimizing. Keep evolving. Don't let this destroy what you're building. I can't do it without you. You can. You're stronger than you think. I'm only strong because you're here. She squeezed his hand. Then I'll stay as long as I can. December 2035. The case against Lee Enterprises had finally concluded. After 3 years of investigation, litigation, and negotiation, the FBI had secured convictions on legacy charges. Low-level operators. Historical crimes. But Dong-hyun walked. Clean. And Yvette Anderson was never charged. The organization, now Lee Global Holdings, was fully legitimate. Real estate. Tech entertainment. Venture capital. Revenue, $2.1 billion annually. Dong-hyun was 25. A legitimate billionaire. Featured in Forbes. Dating a doctor, who knew exactly who he was and chose him anyway. Yvette was 44. Still his strategic advisor. Still his godmother. Still his conscience. They had dinner every Sunday. Still. This particular Sunday, Dong-hyun had news. I'm getting married. Yvette nearly choked on her wine. What? To Dr. Lee? Her name is Susan. And yes. When did this happen? Last night. I proposed. She said yes. Congratulations. This is amazing. I want you to walk me down the aisle. Since my father can't. Yvette's eyes filled. I'd be honored. And I want you to be godmother to our children. Like you are to me. Keep the tradition going. You want me to mess up another generation? I want you to love them like you loved me. Teach them compassion in a world that doesn't value it. Keep them human when everything tries to make them hard. I can do that. I know. They clinked glasses. Look at us, Yvette said. We actually made it. Through everything. We survived. We did more than survive. We grew. Changed. Became better. Are we better? You are. I'm still a work in progress. Aren't we all? Dong-hyun looked at her. This woman who'd saved him. Stayed with him. Sacrificed for him. Noona, Yvette, do you have any regrets? About how things turned out? She thought about it. Really thought. About Portland. Marcus. The normal life she'd walked away from. About the violence. The danger. The moral compromises. About the family she'd built. The influence she'd wielded. The lives she'd changed. I regret the cost, she said finally. The people who got hurt. The parts of myself I lost. But I don't regret the choice. Because look what we built. Look who you've become. A reformed criminal? A man who's trying. That's all anyone can ask. They sat watching the city. This city that had witnessed their entire journey. From a rainy night in Flushing to a penthouse in Tribeca. From a scared little boy to a powerful young man. From a struggling waitress to a woman of influence. Do you ever think about that night? Dong-hyun asked. When I walked into the Golden Dragon? Every day. Do you ever wish you'd said no? Every day. And never. He smiled. Same. Yvette touched the tiger pendant around her neck. Still wore it. Every day. A symbol of family. Choice. Impossible love. You know what the funny thing is? She said. What? I spent 16 years trying to save you from becoming your father. Trying to keep you good. Keep you innocent. And I became him anyway. No, you didn't. You became something else entirely. Something new. A mix of his strength and my compassion. Not perfect, but yours. Our creation. Yes, our creation. Outside, snow began to fall. Rare for December in New York. But beautiful. They watched it together. Godmother and godson. Found family. Survivors. Picture this, Yvette said softly, echoing words from long ago. It's 2:47 a.m. Rain is slamming against the windows. Dong-hyun smiled. I remember. Do you remember what you asked me? Can you walk me home? And I said yes. Best yes I ever heard. Best yes I ever gave. They sat in comfortable silence. Two people bound by 16 years of impossible choices. Yvette Anderson had walked into a storm to help a lost child. And emerged a godmother to a king. Was it worth it? She looked at Dong-hyun, successful, compassionate, evolving, and knew the answer. Every sacrifice. Every compromise. Every sleepless night. Worth it. Not because the destination was perfect. But because the journey was theirs. Minnie, she said softly. Yeah, Noona? Thank you for asking me to walk you home. Thank you for saying yes. Outside the snow fell on New York, covering the city in white. Fresh, clean. No. Like a chance to start again. Like forgiveness. Like hope. And in that penthouse, godmother and godson sat together. Watching the snow. Grateful for the storm that brought them together. Because some nights change everything. Some questions demand answers that reshape lives. And some walks home last forever. June 2036. Yvette Anderson stood at the end of an aisle. Dong-hyun waited at the altar. 25 years old. Handsome in his tuxedo. Eyes bright with joy. Susan stood beside him. Beautiful. Kind. Perfect. The music started. Pachelbel's canon. Yvette walked Dong-hyun down the aisle. Not his mother, she'd come from Seoul but couldn't bring herself to do it. Not his father, dead 9 years now. His godmother. His Noona. The woman who'd raised him when no one else would. She placed his hand in Susan's. Take care of him, she whispered. I will, Susan promised. Yvette sat down. Front row. Patricia next to her. You did good, baby, her mother whispered. We'll see. Give it 20 years. He's happy. That's something. The ceremony was beautiful. Vows. Rings. Kiss. Husband and wife. At the reception, Dong-hyun's toast. To my godmother. Who walked me home when I was lost. And never stopped walking with me. I love you, Noona. Yvette raised her glass. Tears streaming. Later, during the dancing, Dong-hyun pulled her onto the floor. One dance. For old times. They swayed to Sinatra. The way you look tonight. I'm proud of you, Yvette said. Your father would be too. I hope so. But your pride matters more. You have it. Always have. Always will. Even when I screw up? Especially then. He hugged her tight. I'm going to have kids someday. Soon probably. And they're going to call you Grandma Yvette. I'm not old enough to be a grandma. You're perfect age to be their grandma. And they're going to love you like I do. I hope so. They will. Because I'll teach them. The way you taught me. The song ended. He kissed her forehead. Thank you. For everything. For that rainy night. For every day since. You're welcome. Now go dance with your wife. She watched him cross the room. Take Susan's hand. Spin her around. Watched him laugh. Pure joy. No shadows. This was why. This moment. This happiness. This man who'd learned to love despite everything. Worth every sacrifice. Worth every choice. Worth every rainy night. Yvette Anderson sipped her champagne and smiled. She'd walked a little boy home 16 years ago. And somehow, impossibly, they'd both made it home together. Not perfect. Not innocent. But alive. Well, family. And that was enough. More than enough. Everything. Outside, thunder rumbled. A summer storm rolling in. Yvette looked out the window. Watched the first drops fall. And remembered. Always remembered. That rainy night that changed everything. That small hand in hers. That question. Can you walk me home? That answer. Yes. The best yes she'd ever given. The only answer that ever mattered. Some families are born. Some are chosen. And some are forged in rain and loyalty and impossible love. This is the story of one of those families. Complicated. Messy. Real. And worth every moment,